Hey, hey,
Hi,
hey.
people.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. How are you guys out there?
We're
Are you
here.
scratching your head?
I just got an itch in my head. What's the matter? I'm not allowed to do that. Like a fleas or something like that, you know.
Hi,
Yeah.
and welcome to another episode of Gym Time. Get your motivation time with myself, Debbie, and my bigger brother,
Maurice. That's me. I'm glad to be here as well. It's been a long day today, you know, gym, and I haven't been. It's funny. My son Elijah asked me the other day, when was the last time you've been on a bus? And I was I don't. And guess what? I went on a bus today.
Oh, did you? How come she was on the bus?
Because Catherine had to be at a meeting, so I drove there with her in the morning, and then I needed to get over to the gym, so I left the car there with her, and just caught a bus.
Oh, nice.
And walked a little. You know, it was really good. It put food for thought, because obviously with the stroke, and I've not really been out like that, you know, and walking per se on my own. So it was quite exciting today.
Exciting
I'm not,
day.
and it's funny, I don't feel as tired as I normally do, because
That's good.
normally after I've done the gym, I can be really quite tired. But I'm not. I'm not happy about that.
Well, it's good to have you on, bro. And our sis Sonia's on there. Welcome, 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 and welcome to those that are on Instagram and all of those that are going to be watching the replays. Thank you for joining us tonight, and we hope that you enjoyed tonight's episode.
It's exciting. This is another one. It's another deep one, you know. You know that,
I think
don't
it
you?
is. I think it is, but I don't think that what we actually talk about is surface stuff anyway.
No, I don't think so, but I think that it's depending on the topic,
Mm-hmm.
it delves a little deeper than the deepness that we do.
Yeah.
Because I think all of them are deep, but like the toxic one last week and the week before, that was serious.
Yeah, I got really good feedback on that. I shared that with you.
Yeah,
And I just really want to encourage people to go back and watch some of the episodes that we've done previously, because I think that there's something in there for everyone. So,
absolutely. I
let's
think
go.
the other thing I was saying, and I'll say it to you guys out there, those that haven't not sending messages, etc. You're just watching. This isn't just our show, Debbie and mine. It's your show as well. So the more that you interact with us, or even if it's the case that you find topics that you want to talk about as well, I always say, please let us know. I commented to somebody who left a message, and I want to say to you that whenever you're ready to message me, I'll be there to listen. We also have Dennis, and when we start, as we start, Dennis is in America. He's a good friend of mine. He's a brother. He's a brother. He's my brother, and I've got love for him. I've got time. And if when you come on, Dennis, I'm sure you can hear me. I'd like you to give your TikTok or your Instagram as well, because some of you out there, you need to listen to this man's journey, and you will be inspired. He don't look like what he's been and still going through. I can tell you that, but he's got a short time. So when we're ready, Debbie, we'll bring him in.
Yeah,
And my
we'll bring
wife
him in.
might be
So
joining
go
as
ahead and
well.
do your disclaimer then while you're there.
So my disclaimer tonight is that
Sorry.
I am here to motivate, empower, and encourage all those that listening. We all go through things, and we don't always have all answers. So here we are on this platform, possibly giving you certain answers or giving you different strategies that you can apply. And if you do apply them and they work, great. If they don't work, fine tune them to you and your personality.
Mm-hmm.
This is just a platform for you to springboard off and have a fruitful relationship. You way having self uh having there's a word that I want, and it's there. But anyway, if you apply it and it don't work, as I always say, don't cut your neck. All right. So that's my disclaimer. Self-worth, that's the word. Want you to have self-worth. Look at you and build you. Yeah. That can equal a fruitful relationship, and keep the communication. Don't be suppressed with how you feel. Yeah. Just tell him, say, Marie said so, aka Paul. Yeah. Him or her, tell him, say, I said so.
So yeah, just as my brother said, and for those of you who are wondering if he's my brother, he's not just my brother in Christ. He's my flesh and blood brother, and it's just a privilege to be on the show with him and do what we do together. But yeah, we are here to encourage and inspire and motivate and uplift you and help you in your relationships just as much as we help each other, like me and my brother. We want to help you, and this is the whole reason why we decided to do this, is because we bounce things off of each other, and we argue, we fuss, we don't fight, but we we
Not
have
anymore. Not
solid.
anymore.
No, not anymore, because I'm older now, and I will fight back.
And
But
I don't want her coming on with cocos on her head, So I got the piece.
yeah, so our conversations have always been quite fruitful, even though we might not see eye to eye on everything. But our desire is to help you guys on your journey in your relationships and enable them to be more enriched. And so I say to my clients and everyone, I don't know everything, but what I do know, I will absolutely share with you, and hope that that will encourage and inspire you on your journey. So tonight's episode is, do broken men equal broken marriages? Relationships, because you might not be married, excuse me, but you might be in a relationship. Do broken men equal broken marriages, relationships? So that's the question that we're actually asking out there. And the reason why, like, I came up with this topic, and the reason why I came up with this topic is because in the month of July, myself and a group of women are praying for men. And some of the things that are coming forward in terms of the things that people need to pray about, whether it's sons, whether it's husbands, whether it's boyfriends, fiancés, just across the board, is that these men are broken. And when you say broken, some people don't like that terminology, but It's okay if you don't like it. I know that you understand what we mean. It means somebody who is going through trauma, somebody who or has been through trauma. It means that this person isn't fully regulated, the way how they're living, the way how they think, their mindset. And we can identify, I think myself as being a counselor as well, you can identify where there's challenges, and sometimes people don't really want to address those challenges. And what happens is, and let me just throw this out there, I'm not saying that a woman cannot contribute towards a broken relationship. That is not what I'm saying at all, or what we are saying. We're simply looking from a perspective of, can broken men equal a broken marriage? And the reason why I wanted to really share that is because a lot of men are going through traumas and struggles, and those personal struggles, the mental health issues, trauma, emotional distress, whatever you want to call it, can affect communication, it can affect intimacy, and the overall relationship dynamics. And it's when these issues happen and they're not addressed, they contribute towards relationship marital breakdown. And so I said to my brother, I really wanted to bring in some scriptures, because one of the things is as a Christian, a believer in Christ, we believe that the man is the head of the wife. Yeah, God is the head of the household. He is the overarching head of the husband and the wife, but the man is the head of the wife. And I believe, and the word of God really says this, that if you cut off the head, if you sever the head, then the rest of the body is going to be affected. And so I was sharing with my brother in Genesis, when Eve had eaten the fruit, God didn't go to Eve and say, Eve, why did you eat the fruit? He went straight to Adam, who he created first, and then the woman came from the man's rib. And this is what we believe, because we are believers in Christ. We believe in the word of God, and this is what we believe. And so this is where we get our ideologies from. This is where we get our thought processes from. This is where we believe in the word of God, and this is what we apply. And so in Genesis 3:9-12, it says, well, I'm not going to read it all. I'm just going to read a little bit of it. It says, but the Lord God called to the man, where are you? He answered, I heard you in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, so I hid. And he said, who told you that you were naked? Have you eaten from the tree that I commanded you not to eat from? The man said, the woman you put here with me, she gave me some of the fruit from the tree, and I ate it. And there's so many conversations around that he was passing the blame very quickly. He was just like, even though you put me here, even though you told me to do this, you actually gave me this woman, and it was her that
Yeah,
told me
yeah.
to eat told me to eat from the tree. However, God never addressed the woman. He didn't address the woman. The man had to go to the woman and basically address the woman for what actually happened. But God never addressed the woman, because he first created Adam and he was the head. Yeah. And so in this passage, after the fall, God first calls out Adam, holding him accountable for the actions taken in the garden, even though Eve was a participant of it. So this is where I really wanted to home in on the man being the head, and the fact that because he is the person that is steering the ship as it is, if he is broken, if he is malfunctioning, I would say, then it is going to definitely have an impact across the board in the household. And I believe that this is where you will see this division, where you will see separation, where you will see the relationship start to break down. So that's my belief, and I'm sticking to it now.
can,
It's
can I
biblical.
can
Um,
I can I can I add in
yeah,
there?
so you can come in.
And the reason why I wanted to come in, because if anybody does go to the scripture, like I did, the account was, yes, he called the man first. They heard him and they hid, and then God called out to the man, basically, where are you? Because normally he meets with God in the cool of the day. And he said, um, we were afraid. Yeah. So while he was afraid, um, and then he obviously account of them eating the fruit. But what he said, God said, let's go back. He answered, and you heard. I heard you in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, so hid. And he said, who told you that you were naked? Have you eaten from the tree that I commanded you not to eat from? The man said, the woman, like he said, blame the woman, um, that you put here with me. She gave me some fruit, and I ate. Though God called him, he addressed. It was like, see, I see something here, a balance with a man and a woman. When God was addressing the man, he also addressed the woman. He asked her after, and he said, then God said to the woman, what is this you have done?
Yeah,
Notice how they both shoved blame.
yeah,
The
to
man
show that
blamed
the
the
devil is
woman,
a
the
serpent.
woman blamed the serpent. Yeah. So God said to the serpent, etc., you curse, blah blah blah. Um, but this is what he done after, when he cursed the serpent. He went to the woman. Yeah. To the woman, he said, I will make you pain, childbearing, blah blah blah. Um, um, your desire will be for your husband, and he will rule over you. To Adam, he then addressed Adam.
Mhm.
So I think there's a equal blame. Some people don't believe that there's an equal blame, but as you said, at that point, before that, there was no head except God.
Mhm.
They were on, man and woman was on an equal footing. Gosh, this is a biblical one today. They were on equal footing, but because of what she had done, now the man has rule over you. Yeah, because and this is just theory, because you disobeyed what he said. There was she was rebellious.
Mhm.
Yeah, can you imagine? You said, what? What do you mean I can't eat this? Yeah, look how it look nice. Adam, it look nice. No. And then hence we know that he ate as well. But the point why I said that, I think there's an equal share, and there's a reason why I said that with this, especially with this show that we're doing. That something that I read in this, Ephesians 5 and 23 makes it clear who should be the head of the household according to God's design for the family. For the husband is the head of the wife, as Christ is the head of the church, his body of which is the savior. But we err when we disregard all aspects of headship. A head, and it was something that you said as well, it cannot function on its own. It is as dependent on the rest of the body as the body is on the head. And I think what you said earlier on is that if a woman, um, okay, a woman meets a broken man. This is my opinion. And Dennis, I'm going to call you in a minute, so
Get
um,
ready.
get ready. Um, if a woman meets a broken man, um, she can either contribute towards his brokenness or help in the healing process of becoming a whole man. Yeah. So that the communication does come in there, because we can't be afraid as men to say I'm vulnerable. Yeah? We can't. And I'm going to put a pin in that, and I'm going to bring in Dennis. This is Dennis. I want to hear your opinion, Dennis. Hey.
Hey, Dennis. Good to
Hey,
have
Debbie,
you on
how are you
again.
guys doing?
Good,
How
thanks.
you guys doing across the pond?
Very good. Very good. Good to
Good,
see you.
good, good, good. My son just returning from Europe, so it's amazing. It's amazing. Yeah.
It
Awesome.
sure is. So, Dennis, do broken men equal broken relationship stroke marriage? And how do you feel about what we've discussed so far?
Ah, wow, wow. That's a personally for me, I can't speak for everybody, and I can only say from my personal experiences. I did the work after my marriage failed. I did the work 2.5 years of therapy. I didn't understand in the beginning. I didn't. Um, I didn't know. I think when we're in relationships, um, it's all nice in the beginning. It's supposed to be. There's the honeymoon phase, and we might have gotten in that relationship for different reasons. Some get it for lustful reasons, or whatever. Everybody have their own different reasons for getting in a relationship, but we never take time to check out the background of that person. The reason I'm saying that, my therapist was telling me uh, about my dad. I said, man, what my dad got to do with this, man? You know how old I am. My dad is gone. I mean, man, you talking about my dad? I was angry, but I told him I had forgiven my dad. But he said, really? Have you really forgiven him? And he put me to the test, but I had never really let that go. You understand? The way he did my mom and those type of things, it affected my relationship, in my marriage, because I never seen what black love looked like. Um, when you're broken, right, as a man, we're supposed to stand tall. We shouldn't tell our mate. It depending on the level of the relationship, I'm hurting. These things from my past is hurting me, and who you go talk to, especially us as black men, who do we go tell our stories to? And I had the opportunity. God put this thing, this amazing man in my life, and he broke me all the way down. It's hard for any man, especially a black man, to get naked in front of another person so that person could diagnose you. When you're in that dating phase and you don't know that person's background, you don't ask those questions like, what's your relationship with your dad was? How you feel about your dad? What's about your relationship with your siblings? That matters. It really, really, really matters. And I was broken. I just didn't know it. I went a large percentage of my life. I was broken, and it translated in a bad way in my marriage. And I didn't understand emotions. I didn't understand to like one particular thing was he asked me, when your wife said she would cry herself to bed or she would go to bed crying,
Mm.
what did you do? And I'm like, what you talk about, man? That what she normally do. I just let her go to bed. He said, no, 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 brother. I said, no, man. Let me tell you about a woman. He said, a woman want to know that you got her. She want to feel safe and secure. What you
That's
didn't
right.
do, you didn't go to your woman. You didn't hug her up and you say, baby, whatever it is, I got you. We got it. I ain't going nowhere.
Mm.
That you failed. And that broke me. They cried because I said, man, it was so simple. Why I didn't know that in the beginning? When we broken like that, we comfortable in our brokenness. We are, because we're supposed to be all the strong men. And a lot of times we find women look for broken men. Some women knowingly, unknowingly look for broken men so they could fix them. But these men are not ready or willing to get fixed. I wasn't for a long time. You couldn't
Right.
tell me nothing. You ain't gonna tell me. Who are you to tell me about me? No, you need to check you. When the wheels come off, then we want, oh, I had a good woman. Oh, I lost a good woman because of my ignorance and my stupidity. Some men, they'll never get to that point of self-awareness. They're always gonna stay in that dark place because that's who they are. I was
Yeah.
that man. I was that man because nobody could tell me anything. But I cried. I cried. And she said, when I was crying, where were you? Where were you? Where were you? And I
Wow.
mean, it hit to my heart, because who you go tell that to? Who you go tell that you're afraid? Who you gonna tell that you don't understand? Me as a black man, I'm supposed to be strong. I'm supposed to be leading my family, and not telling the person I sleep next to every night I'm hurting. Or will I, if I take a chance and tell this woman how I really feel, will she look at me differently? Will she look at me less than? And that is
Right.
a tough position to be in for any man, And we do the big elephant in the room. We dance around it until one day everything comes to a head, and it's very, very difficult for us to admit that we're wrong. Baby, I'm sorry. This is where I was in my head. When I said it to my ex-wife, it was too late. She was gone. She was
Right.
gone. And sometime I know this much. I'm a believer. I heard people talk about evenly yoked and all that. If you're not rooted in Christ, and if you're not headed that way in your marriage, something's going to happen. Something that you're not gonna like will happen. It's a tough place to be, loving somebody, loving them with your heart, but you're not evenly yoked. I used to joke about it, say evenly yoked. What that mean? I didn't really know. But if that person not a believer like you, when
Mm.
when I knew I was in trouble, you understand? I knew it. I would get out of my king size bed, my ex-wife on in, I walk around and I asked her, can we pray? But by that time, it was done. She laid her hands in my hand, but we didn't touch and agree. We didn't agree with that, and it was hard to come back. It was difficult for me to come back. By the time I got the help I needed, it was over. It was over. The toughest part is to walk away from something you don't want to walk away from. It was very hard and challenging. It took me years. I cried every day. I miss my family. I miss my wife. But God said, I closed that door. Brother, it's time to move on. I got something better. Listen what you have to do. You have to let it go. Let it go so I can replace it with something brand new, something more rewarding, something that's gonna lift, not only lift you up, but lift me up. We're gonna lift up the name of God. But it was so tough for me to come in. I was struggling with God because I'm like, God, you gave me this beautiful son, you gave me this beautiful wife, and why I'm learning all this now? And she's gone. I got all this information in my head, all this great knowledge. Everybody I talk to, I say, don't leave your wife. Don't leave your husband. Man, y'all can find common ground. Find one thing that y'all could work on and start there. Don't try to take it all in at one time if you're willing. But if you have one willing participant and not two, you can forget about it. If that person is gone, yes, certainly I believe in prayer. I prayed for my wife. I prayed that God would bring her back to me. But he said, Dennis, it's over. And I said, God, how you do this? How do I go forward? And he put people in my life to help me. In the beginning, I had a male therapist. In the end, I had a woman. She was the icing on the cake. She brought it home for me because a woman understands a woman, just like a man understands a man. When a man is speaking and you asking him a question about your man, I would encourage every woman, listen what that man is telling you. Especially if you don't have a dog in that fight. Listen to what he's saying, because I know a man. I could read a man, because I'm a man myself. Just like a woman knows a woman. She knows a woman. I don't know about being a woman. When you coming to me and you're telling me my husband or my boyfriend or so-and-so is acting a certain way, and I could say, you want my honest opinion or want me to lie to you? Well, I'm going to tell you, the person I am, I'm going to be truthful with you, because I've been there. I wish someone would have spoke to me. I just didn't listen. I just didn't want to listen. I didn't have an ear. I blocked out everything she said. She was telling me. And man, when he showed me something. This is the truth, Paul. I'm going to say this. And I said, I used to love looking at my wife when she come out the shower. And I was a child. I had no eyes for nobody else. And I said, man, she come out the shower. Now she got a towel around herself. He said, that was the beginning. She was gone. Like, what? You got to be kidding me. She said she shows you things, and she tells you things in the marriage. And if you don't listen, and if you don't pay attention, if you stop being so selfish and prideful, you can save your marriage. But some people, like myself, I had a hard head. I think I knew it all. I didn't know how to go to my woman. And some women, your man probably don't know how to come to you. He just don't know how to come to you. But I'm telling you, when I went to, they call it families in transition. It's part of when you're going through the divorce, you have to go through that process. But when I went to court, there was two sections, one for domestic violence. I didn't have that, but it was another part. That was the first time I found my voice, because I was embarrassed that I was getting divorced. I was embarrassed. And so I just spoke my truth. And I told the story I just told you guys. Now the man wants to go to therapy with the woman. The woman say, no, I don't need therapy. You're the one that needs therapy. You need it. And they argued because there were couples that were getting divorced. And when I spoke my truth about, I was a very private person, but God gave me the strength to say, look, Dennis, you may save somebody. You know, I'm gonna give you something better, but be obedient right now and go share and try to tell people about your life. Share your story, not somebody else's story. Share your story, and you're gonna save somebody's marriage. You're gonna save, because God wants a marriage. He wants our marriages to be together, but you cannot do it by yourself, no matter how hard you try, no matter how hard you do it. I just knew, and I kept telling my wife, I believed that she said she would tell people, and I couldn't, at the time I wasn't paying attention. She would tell people, my husband got more faith than me. She had to see it to believe it. I don't have to see it to believe it. And same thing with women today. You might have a husband who, he got to see it to believe it. He's not a believer like you. And women are strong in the body of Christ. They're strong in the body of Christ, and they walk. And sometimes the man knows that. The man knows that. We know that. We know that. But we pig-headed. We pig-headed. We could have things happen to us, and God started trying to guide us and guide us. We say, nah, God, I don't want this woman no more. I see something across the street. I want to try something different. I don't like this Christian walk. I don't like this. It's not for me. We do it out of fear because we don't know. We just don't know what's at the end. And that's the part where faith comes in. To believe, to walk in faith and not by sight, to trust the process. It's a difficult process. Marriage is tough, but also marriage is rewarding. To wake up next to the person, your life partner, every day. I'd rather be with the crazy I know than the crazy I don't know. That's just about why would I want to go over there across the street. I know what I got to deal with when I come home. But the part is that in a marriage, and that's why I feel too, I would tell anybody that's listening that's in a marriage and they call it maintenance. Go to these workshops. I mean, they got weekend workshops.
That's right.
Some people, I like it physical. I don't want it online. I read it physical in the physical. And we did it. We just didn't do it enough. You understand? And we start talking about money and that, but the divorce is gonna cost you a whole lot more. Why not try to fix it? You understand? And in my mind, I was stubborn. I ain't lying. I was a knucklehead. The person I am today, I thank God. I didn't die. I didn't die not knowing. I know now. Oh my God.
So what would you say to those people who don't have the finances or don't have the time to be able to get to these workshops for good enough reasons? What would you say to those people as well then, Dennis?
I would tell you, I would tell you this, that don't go to your girlfriend. Don't go to your buddies that's not married. I mean, you seek wise counsel from people that been there, that's doing it every day, that's living the same life. You see, you just don't know that they're struggling. They look good on the outside. They got the big house, the nice cars. And you say, they've been married 30, 40 years. And I've only been in this a couple of years. And now I'm getting divorced, or my husband left, my wife left. Go and ask. Go and ask. And the wisdom that you might get out of that. You keep asking, that's on the cheap. But I believe if you avail yourself to it and you're committed to it, there's so much can come from that. I've learned so much about myself. I learned some ugly truths about myself. Some of these men that may be listening now, I know how I was. I know how you are. I know how I was. I didn't want to hear nothing. When it was gone, and I wanted to go to every self-help, wanted to go everywhere. I remember when my wife left out the house. I'll never forget that day. And I cried out to God. I cried. I said, God, show me, because I was a fool. I've been a fool all this time. God, just show me. Show me what it is. And that's who he gave me this guy. He gave me this guy. It's the most amazing thing. I knew him, but I didn't know his story. He was a therapist. And when I went to he's from Jamaica, a little short guy with a little derby hat on. And I could tell you exactly what he told me. He said, look at you, Dennis. You're pitiful. You're snotting all over the place. You're crying. What woman would want you? Why would she want you? He said, but I could show you how to come from a place of strength. If you get her back, you win. If you don't get her back, you still win, because now you're stronger. Now let's do the work. Let's put in the work. Let's put in what's necessary. So when I did my first session, man, I said, oh, let me go call her. Girl, she said, oh, no, don't do that. No, Dennis. She said, oh, no, don't do that. No, don't do that. That's not the time for it. And I went through that whole process, that pruning process. It's an ugly process. When you're looking within, it's very difficult for a man to turn this thing and look inside, and you find all these ugly truths about yourself. You're embarrassed about a lot of stuff. You didn't honor your woman. You didn't treat her right. You know you was wrong. You know that. I knew I was wrong. You understand? I knew some of the things I said was wrong, but he challenged me, and not knowing, he came in one day and he said, Dennis, you like numbers? I like numbers. What do you think about 7? How about 8? How about 10? I'm like, I said, man, this man won't talk about the lottery. I don't play no lottery. What are you talking about like that? Like, what in the world? I said, man, I'm wasting my flipping money. Just like I said, I'm wasting my money. And then he, no, for real, Debbie, he broke that thing down for me. He said, man, those numbers come from the Bible. They represent something. You know what completion is. Y'all know what all that is, and also new beginnings, to start off anew, start off fresh. But when you start off fresh, you start off differently, because now you have the knowledge of God, the wisdom of God that's leading and guiding you. No longer are you leaning on yourself. You turn into Him. That's a difficult part if you're a worldly person. You understand?
Absolutely.
To really understand. But what he picked up on me when I was talking, when he first interviewed me and he did the write-up, he found out I was spiritual. Don't tell me that ain't God. Don't tell me that ain't God, man. That God brought that man to me. It's the God honest truth. I cried out on my sofa at my house. He gave me not what I wanted, but what I needed, to understand, at that time. And unknowing to me, after I finished my therapy session with him for a while, I met him again. And he said, Dennis, he said, how you remember everything I said? I said, man, my life was hanging in the balance, man. Listen, I've never got naked in front of nobody before. I'm too prideful. My pride won't tell me, Debbie, my pride won't tell me that I'm hurting. Baby, look, this is what I'm going, this is what I'm thinking. Can you help me? But for fear that you might judge me or make me feel less than, or you might take that information I give you, and one day you're going to flip it on me. Now you know stuff about me that I kept inside all this time. You understand? It's difficult. I mean, I hope you understand what all you women understand.
I totally understand.
Yeah, it's difficult.
Let me ask you this question, Dennis. There are some men out there that don't recognize that they're broken. So not recognizing it, they'll continue with the cycle of who they think they are.
Absolutely.
Speaking to them a moment, and to those kind of men.
I know. Look, I will say this again, man. I'd rather deal with the crazy I know than the crazy I don't know. You have to take time out for self-reflection. I said, remove yourself for a while. Take some time for yourself. Go walk in the woods. Go do whatever it is that you do, but take some alone time and spend that time talking to God. And He gonna reveal Himself to you. He gonna guide you to where it is that you need to be. Because this thing here, we think we know it all, and we don't. We're too embarrassed to tell the person that next to us. Listen, I was struggling big time with depression, big time. Like, I can't tell you how much. I was in a mental hospital 4 times. I couldn't. My ex-wife, she never understood that, because I could never, articulate it to her. You understand? And I felt that was a stain on me, and they used that against me in my marriage, that, I was crazy, and we never fussed. I never raised my voice. I don't curse. So there was no cussing. I think it's more the way, like, I can't see my face, right? And she told me something very poignant one day. We good all through the week, but when Friday comes, there's some tension, because I like to go to church. I felt if a family prays together, a family stays together. When I came here to Atlanta, I used to go to church, and I used to see all these families, and I said, God, I want this. I see these men holding their little babies, and after they go to these little swanky little place, go eat with their little family, go back home and start it all over again. And I desired that. God knew that was my prayer, But I'm doing that. But when one day my wife just decided not to come to church no more, I took it personal. But I never communicated it to her. I never communicated to her. I never told her. Every time you tell me, every time I want to go, and she knew I was a spiritual person, and then you took that away from me, and that bothered me, and then it made a life of its own, and we got more distance. And then my son, every Sunday, I'd get up because I felt that we have to train up a child, show a child, teach him. And that's how my mama, we went to church. That's just the bottom line, we went. But I've
Right.
learned so much more since then. But my son would say, Mama, you coming to church? And then we would get on the highway. He said, Papa, why Mama not coming to church? I said, man, me and you gonna do it. But I built up so much resentment. And one day
Resentment.
she did that thing was so, I didn't know how big it was. I mean, you get up so much resentment, man. You don't even know, it consumes you. You
Yeah.
think it's right, everything you're doing, this resentment is a beast, man. You have to pray against resentment in your body, in your thoughts, in your mind. But I came home, me and him, and she was sitting on a sofa. Now, she was doing something I didn't know. She was reading these little epistles, whatever, reading all these scriptures. I didn't know she was doing that, but I was blind, you understand? When I came to the house, came through the door, and I can't see my face. And she said, look at you. She said, and you want me to go to that church? Aren't you supposed to come back better?
Better.
And,
Yeah.
and I couldn't, I couldn't say nothing, Debbie. Debbie, I went in the room and I cried. I said, oh my God, all this time I'm going to church. My friend came over and he said, Dennis, you're not responsible for her soul. She's not responsible for your soul. You're responsible for your own soul. But as the leader of the house, and I didn't, at the time I didn't hear him, he said, as the leader of the house, and to the women too, keep doing what you're doing and be the example for them because they can't see. I couldn't see. And you're supposed to be the eyes for that man. And you should continuously covering your man when you're with him and when you're not. I didn't learn all this. What I'm telling you, Ray, I'm learning this just a couple of years ago that I want my woman to pray when I'm gone and when I'm with her because the enemy is alive and well. These demons are all over the place. You could touch somebody. People don't believe in that. You know, somebody say, I'm praying for you. You just got to be careful who's praying for you. They may be PREY, you know, so you have to really be careful of that. But I'm telling you, Debbie, I've learned just as a man. I told God, I said, if you ever give me a chance again, I really learned my lesson. I really do, Debbie. Honestly, I ain't lying. I mean, it's nothing when that's taken away from you. And I knew I was a person that if I got back out there, I'd be trying to fill that hole that only God could fill. You try to go with this woman and that woman or that man and this man, and you'll never get filled up. You'll never, ever get enough because he's the only one that could fill that void in your life. You could be out in that world and you could be doing all these different things. But I'm telling you, every knee shall bow, every tongue will confess that he is Lord. I knew that. I mean, let me tell you something. I stand on that today. I didn't know that. I'm telling you, a lot of men, and I'm telling women that are going through whatever they're going through, we just don't know. And our pride, Debbie, our pride won't let us stop for a minute. It takes somebody other than you to sit down with that person and say, look what you're losing, look what you're leaving. Think about it. Look at where the cost. Why would you want to do yourself that way?
Yeah.
But some people, like I said, if we're not spiritually connected like that, if we don't pray day in, that's why we have to pray day in. And there's no pause. There's no pause. Pray daily, constantly praying. When you're at your desk, take a minute to cover that man. Take that minute to cover that woman because the enemy is a well and lie. He looks for cracks. He's looking for the smallest crack, and then become a big, huge hole, and then you fall in the hole, and you don't have the wherewithal to get up out of that hole. You understand? I've been there, man. When I talk to people, I'm telling people from my heart because I love my wife. Oh, my God. I mean, I ain't never loved nobody. I had no eyes for nobody else. I never cheated. I didn't have that because I just didn't know how to correct myself. Right. It's when I went to therapy, and I availed myself to it. I said, you know, Dennis, you lost it all. You might well do something. Look at you. What, you want to start a whole brand new relationship? And he looked at me and he said, Dennis, she gone, man. She gone. She gone,
I think
man.
that's one of the mistakes.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go on, Paul.
No, that's one of the mistakes that I made is that there was no self-healing. I mean, there was no healing process for me. I was filling those gaps, and those gaps got filled, you know, in whatever capacity it was. I mean, when I went back to smoking, that was trying to fill a gap, but it didn't fulfill me. And, you know, this woman or that woman, and it's and other things that I did, it just didn't fill any gap at all. And I think that even now, I know that I still need therapy. I still need the counseling. I still need someone to speak into my. That's why I appreciate you, because you speak into my life. You know, because there was no full healing process, and though I'm going through a process of healing, I can lapse off because the traumas were never really dealt with someone highlighting while I'm telling them.
Yeah. So you
Like
you
I
you
tell
you
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 things
expect
and
that
you
person
highlight.
you expect that person to recognize your trauma, but you've never revealed that to them. How can they help you if you don't
Exactly.
say, "Baby, look, I know we married, and
No,
I got
you,
a
you
secret I
you you
want."
said something. You said something quite
It's a
poignant,
stab in the
and this
dark.
this is a thing for most men. Because I did reveal myself to somebody,
Mm-hmm.
and the response was this: "Is that why you're the way that you are?" That closed the door inside of me because that hurt. Yeah, that hurt.
Yeah.
So
That's the backlash.
I can,
That's the backlash I was talking to you
yeah,
about. The
I
backlash is
can,
the fear. If I tell you, if I come to you, Paul, and I say, Paul, even though I'm with you, you're my rib. I'm with you. But there's a trust factor because there's something in that marriage you said a long time ago you forgot. But the
Yeah,
person that the trauma happened to, they never forgot it, and they
yeah.
say, now it's
you,
not gonna
yeah,
correct
Never gonna say
itself.
I can,
nothing.
yeah,
You're
because
right.
I
You
can
see.
still remember that door closed, and from time to time I might let that door open a little bit, but I that's why I said I recognize it, and especially over the weekend, I was
Mm-hmm.
able to look at myself and say, "Whoa, hold on a second,
Yeah.
I still have this and this issue in my
Mm-hmm.
life. I'm not as um, uh, far gone as I used to be,
Mm-hmm.
but to recognize it, like I said, self-reflection.
Mm.
Absolutely.
Something
Absolutely.
happens that's traumatic or bad,
Uh-huh.
helps you to reflect on you as to why this bad thing is there, and it could be your fault, but
Mm.
sometimes it's habitual. So
Yes.
you do things out of habit. Like I've been self-destructive. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So most relationship, I've caused it to destruct
Right.
because of my traumas or distrust or whatever
Mm-hmm.
the person is dealing with. And I have to learn, and still learning, to take my eyes off of them and deal with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I'm
Sometimes,
when I
Paul, we
do when I deal
go
with
ahead. I'm
me,
sorry.
then I grow.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. As a man who the
Right.
subject is
Right.
broken men equal broke, does it equal broken? Not in all cases,
Not in
but
all
it
cases.
can
Right.
happen if you
Mm-hmm.
don't deal with you, self-reflect, look at you. What are
Mm-hmm.
you bringing to the table that
Yes.
causes
Mhm.
issues or traumas on this woman? And on the flip
Right.
side, she has to look, do I bring things to the table that ignite this? And
Mm-hmm.
what can I do in me that can help him? Just the same way I have to look at what can I do that can
Mm-hmm.
help her?
Right. Right.
That's right.
Right.
Can I
Yeah,
Right.
say? Can I
you
say
go,
that
Jim.
you shared like your story eloquently, and I think that because I do counselling,
Mm-hmm.
and since we've been doing the podcast, there's been a number of women in particular that's reached out to me because of the podcast that we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And this was one of the reasons why I came up with this particular
Mm-hmm.
um, subject today, because of the traumas that the men have experienced that they haven't spoken about, but they're manifesting in their behaviors. And
Mm-hmm.
like what Paul said, and I'm not negating that women can trigger men, and
Mm-hmm.
that a woman can also be the reason why a relationship breaks down. I'm
Mm-hmm.
purely looking at the men who've had trauma and there's brokenness there, and how this impacts upon the relationships that they're having with their spouses. And you touched on so many different areas that it I think that if somebody who is going through a separation or going through a divorce or already has been divorced or just going through challenges in their relationship, what you put down today, there's so much in that. And the reason why I think it's a great topic is because it's identifying that there's brokenness. You first have to identify that there's brokenness. And a lot of what you were saying, even about the resentment, that building up, like people don't see that. Like it doesn't matter if you're going to church or not. Let's be
Mm-mm.
honest. If
It's true.
you take things personally, and I remember in my first marriage, I took it very personal that my ex
Mm-hmm.
was not going to church. I took it personal. And it's not,
Mm-hmm.
do you know what it is? It's embarrassment and shame. It's, and you're carrying that and you're like, why can't you just see that you need Christ? Like and I was always a fixer, somebody who always wants,
Mm-hmm.
that's
Mm-hmm.
the kind of person I am. I'm empathetic. I'm there to support people. That's just my nature.
Mm-hmm.
However, it doesn't translate very well when you're in a relationship where you're trying to do that and not allow God to be God in somebody's life. But
Mm-hmm.
what I loved about your testimony was just the honesty, the authenticity, the accountability, where you've taken accountability for where you was at. And it and I think that it needs to be said that even though you found, when I say yourself, found
Mm-hmm.
where the challenges were and healed, there is a byproduct of you being the way that you was at that time. So it led to the breakdown of your marriage and
Mm-hmm.
not to this point restoration. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that people need to understand that because the work isn't being done, and that's the thing, it's the work, that a lot
Mm-hmm.
of people walk away feeling as though, you know what, I can't do this, or it's
Mm-hmm.
not worth it, or they blame the other person for the breakdown of the relationship. But any person that really looks within themselves, man or woman, looks within themselves, even at a breakdown of a relationship, both parties should be able to identify their flaws and their weaknesses. Both people should be able to say, do you know what? This is what I added to the breakdown of the relationship. It's not just one person, it's both
Mm-hmm.
people. It doesn't matter whether it's 60-40, 70-30. The fact
Absolutely.
is that it's both people who contribute towards the breakdown of the
Absolutely.
relationship. And if you can walk away from a relationship and become a better person for yourself, you've won. Do you get what I mean? You have absolutely won, because what it's done is that it's highlighted areas that you need to heal from, that you need to get in check. And if you walk away and you do not do that work, you're that same person to yourself day in, day out, to your family, to your
Mm-hmm.
friends, to your colleagues,
Yeah.
and you never would have done that work. And so what I
Absolutely.
love is the fact that you said, I have to share this. And one of my messages today was about sharing testimonies, because this month I'm doing every single day, sharing inspiration and that for this month, because it's my birthday month.
Mm. Right. Happy early birthday. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
it's on the 25th, but for this month, that's what
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing. I'm sharing inspiration and empowerment.
Mm-hmm.
And today's one was to share your testimony.
Mm-hmm.
Today's one was
Oh wow.
share your testimony, because there's somebody who can heal from it. There's somebody that can learn from it. There's
Absolutely.
somebody who can be delivered
Absolutely.
from it. And so you sharing your testimony and the way that you shared it, I believe that if people are to listen, and as you was talking, I was like, I'm going to clip that bit, I'm going to clip that bit, I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
clip that
Mm-hmm.
bit, and I'm going to put it
Mm-hmm.
out there, because somebody, more than somebody, there's many people that need to hear your testimony so that the healing can begin. And I think that you are a prime example of like what we're speaking about today. Can
Mm-hmm.
do broken men equal broken marriages? And,
Mhm.
you know, I don't know the extent of, you know, your
Mm-hmm.
brokenness, but the fact that you went to therapy, I tell you something, I could talk about this all night. Let me tell you something. The way how women have been coming to me, this month is a month where we are praying, and I said it at the top of the show, we're praying specifically for men. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a group of us, we pray and we fast for men all the time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This whole month we're doing 30 days of, and this is like every day, 7 days a week, praying
Mm-hmm.
for our men. This is our
Mm-hmm.
sons, this is our nephews, this is our husbands, this is our men in our lives. And the reason why is because that brokenness in the household, that brokenness, and the fact that a lot of men find it so difficult to identify their challenges, because they don't sit with themselves. They don't want to sit for a minute and sit with their thoughts. They want to switch on the television, switch on the game, do something to distract themselves from thinking about what they need to think about. I'm in the process of writing a book about resilience. One of the chapters is think about what you are thinking about. If you sit down and you're thinking about just the craziest things in your mind, say to yourself, why am I thinking that? Like, why would you sit there with crazy thoughts going through your mind and not think, why are you thinking this? Why would you allow your mind to be a playground for the enemy, for negative thoughts, for resentment, for bitterness? And so it's important for us to have these conversations so that the men can be healed, and also so that the woman can identify that their spouse needs healing, and so they can let up on them instead of arguing. You know, the Bible says we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but principalities and powers.
Mm-hmm.
Oftentimes we're wrestling with the challenges that the men are going through, but you don't realize that you're wrestling with the trauma, you're wrestling with you know, demonic forces. But I will speak specifically about the trauma. You're wrestling with traumas, you're wrestling with somebody who hasn't come to terms with things, and instead of you speaking into their lives, you're speaking more death, you're speaking negativity into their lives. And this is what the conversations I'm having with women, that we can be like Abigail, where we are wise to have conversations with our spouses, with our intended, so that they don't feel less than. You said it, like Dennis, you said so much. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if a woman is speaking to you and you feel less than, why wouldn't you check yourself? Why would you say, this woman who's your wife, who has chosen you, why would you say this woman is trying to put me down? This woman is trying to make me feel.
We call that nagging. A no man, no
Yeah, but
man.
why wouldn't you think for a minute, if she loves me, if she cares about me, is it
She
that
wouldn't be
is,
trying
is
to
it that she's
tear
trying
me
to speak
down.
life
Right,
into me?
right, right.
Mhm,
I get it.
mhm.
No, I know what you're saying is absolutely on point.
I
But
know
I'm
there's a
telling you,
way.
yeah, yeah. But
I know
when your
there's a way that
mind,
women can talk that
yeah, but
isn't
Yeah.
when your
that.
mind, yeah, yeah. But I think that not every woman have that skill set. You understand, to
Right.
go into how you. There's an Ethiopian folk tale that talks about. It's called the Lion Whisker. It's a very short read, but what's so powerful was that the man he married another woman, and he had a
Mhm,
small child, and but
mhm,
the small child was so resentful towards the woman because she was taking the place of his mother. He was very resentful. So she went to the witch doctor, and he said, "I can help you." He said, "But there's a certain lion that goes to this particular pond in the evening, and he comes and he gets a drink. I want you to go pluck 5 whiskers from that lion's from his beard." And she said, and she was like, "What? There's no way, that ferocious lion." But she was so committed that she would go every afternoon, but she stayed at a distance. Every day she would go, she would get closer and closer and closer till she got right next to him. And then she was able to pet him. And once she pet him, he allowed her to pull one of those whiskers. And when she gathered all 5, he went back to the witch doctor. And she said, "There you go." He said, "Okay, you got it." And she said, "What you mean?" She said a lion represents your stepson. The way you move towards him, you can't move towards him with any type of aggression because he's gonna rile up on you. You understand? You see the
Right.
you see the metaphor. You see what it's
Yeah,
saying,
yeah,
and
yeah.
we want to go at things. Well, you got to be doing this, and he don't want to hear that. It's a way that you have. Look, on a good day, when the sun is out, you bring it up. Not when you're arguing about something and
That's
you're
right.
in the car, you're on the car ride, or he said something, he broke something or something. Then yeah, this, and he getting even further away from. We gonna get further away from you. You have to use some type of tact, and that's the part that a lot of people don't get. I didn't get it, you know. I didn't. I just didn't. I mean, because we stubborn. You know, when you're in that chair, you're comfortable. You're comfortable just the way you are, and you don't want nobody. Sometimes you gotta.
Let me ask you this, yeah. Does marriage change you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh yes. Oh my
The
God.
reason
You
why,
know.
the reason why I ask that is because when people get married, if they don't think that marriage will change them, then they're wrong. If they think that they're going to remain the same, their spouse is going to remain the same, then they've lost already. Because
Absolutely.
the moment you start to see any type of change, you want to pull away. And the thing is, what I've recognized about marriage is, like I said to someone the other, I've been saying it for quite some time, but I said it to someone the other day. I said that you marry that person's representative. And then when you actually in the marriage now, you start to see who this person really is. And the
Absolutely.
thing is, what I think is beautiful in a marriage is when you do see the flaws, when you do see the weaknesses, and you start to address them and you start to work through them, and you start to say, if you don't ask no questions, if you see that person changing and you say nothing, you do nothing, you just remain the same, then you're fooling yourself. Because that
Yeah.
person's changing right in front of you and you're changing right in front of them. And if you say nothing, they say nothing, you're just playing a silly game. And
Yeah.
the thing is, I think that
See,
sorry, Paul, one second.
no,
What
yeah,
people
no, go.
consider a conversation and the ability to understand, sometimes they consider that to be conflict. And there's a
Right.
difference
Right.
between you having conflict and you trying to get clarity and you trying to
Absolutely.
understand that person. So you said it earlier on as well, Dennis, like you can never understand who that person is unless that person opens their heart to you and
Absolutely.
tells you. You can assume and you can be stabbing in the dark,
Mm-hmm.
but that person has to be open, honest, and transparent about who they are, what they're thinking, what their beliefs are, before you can. Otherwise, you're stabbing in the dark, and every time you stab in the dark, that person is getting hurt by you stabbing in the dark, and then they blame you stabbing in the dark because they're getting hurt. But you're not, the light isn't on. So you're just stabbing and thinking, is this it? Is this it? Is this it? You haven't switched the light on. So I'm here
Right.
stabbing, I'm hitting
Yeah.
you, then you're gonna blame me for hurting you. And I
Yeah.
and I get it, but if somebody isn't open, if they're not transparent, if they don't share their flaws, their weakness, because they're still trying to cover up because of fear of rejection and abandonment, and how that person's
That foundation begins in the beginning.
One,
If you don't set that foundation, I think, and it's the truth. I'm gonna say support. I think that and I know with my ex-wife, she held a lot of things, right? You hold all that in and you see it all at one time. You're like, oh, did
yeah,
that happen?
yeah,
You're talking
yeah,
about 5
yeah.
years ago, 6 years ago. You still, wait a minute, why you didn't tell me something back then? And let me tell you something. This the lesson. I think this is the most lesson I learned, that I don't say nothing that day, but I should have said something the next day. Same thing, it's on both sides, because if you keep trying to hold all these things, oh, you remember last week you did this 2 months ago, and
I know.
you broke a glass today, but you're not mad about that glass, no. You might about something that
See,
happened 3-4 years ago. You're like, you didn't get over that. You serious? Stuff like that.
see,
Go ahead, Paul.
I'm gonna read Trevor's comments in a minute
Yeah,
as
please.
well. Well, let me read them and then I'll try
You
and
read
remember
Yeah.
what I've got to say. Um, what he said, hold on a second, let me close that down. He says, sometimes the wife is trying to tell you what's broken, I guess, or breaking the
Breaking the
foundation,
foundation.
but the man can't hear. He also went on to say, on average, you're not the same person you were 5 years ago completely. And the last, conflict and clarity would depend on their delivery of the communication. Very true. And so, what I
Absolutely.
was going to say is that sometimes you have men who do express themselves, or women who express themselves, but nothing comes back. Or what comes back is um, it's like playing tennis. Yeah. So you're saying that, and you're saying I feel like this because of X, Y, Z,
Mm.
and they hit the ball back and say, well, when you did this, it made me feel like this. Then you can't play bat and ball.
Mm-hmm.
Let the person express themselves.
Mm.
Hear them, understand it.
Mm.
Then express yourself, not score a point on how you feel in yourself. You might bring something, but how you feel, because we
Mm.
all feel. For me as a man, sometimes you know there's going to be a conflict, so you avoid the conflict. For a woman, she knows there's going to be a conflict, so she avoids the conflict. Eventually, the conflict will come. Yeah? And that can be the breaking point. That can be the separation point. We're not we're not in competition. When you're in a relationship, you're not in competition with her. And if you are, you need to be single. Yeah. He's not in competition with you, and you're not in competition with him. You're supposed to come together and grow. When there's no openness and communication, you will not grow. Yeah. You're Some of us are stagnant in the same place because you want to talk, but this is going to cause. And I think sometimes you have to, I say most of the time, you need to get over that fear of what might come your way. Yeah.
Mm.
Because I remember back in the day, when I was dating, and this is something for me to understand as a point in my life. And I guess for Catherine, if you're listening, it's a pin in my life that I never looked at, and us just talking. Yeah. Someone said to me, "Oh, Dennis, do you want me to mute you?"
No. Yes. Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yes, you want to be muted?
Yes.
Okay. Um, Sometimes, what the person said to me, sorry, um, they said, "Talk to me," and the reason why they said talk to me is because I stopped talking. I said, "No, you talk to me. Tell me something about you. Tell me more about you." And they said, "Oh, I've got nothing to really say about myself." I think we all have something to say about ourselves, good,
Mm.
bad, and indifferent. Yeah. And she said to me, "Oh, you always do talking, so you talk." And at that point, I just carried on talking because I knew I'm a conversationist and I can talk about anything. But what I wanted from her, which I didn't express, was tell me you. So I know that there's a future in this. Yeah.
Mm.
And I guess that's still the me. I talk a lot, but
Mm.
always wanting to know the you. I think that's what attracted me to Catherine, because she was telling me about her life, you
Mm.
know, and I could see her life unfolding and the traumas and the hurts or pains from the past. We were talking about the shoulder over there, and we're talking about, and I'm gonna talk about the brokenness. Some of the brokenness is from your childhood, how your
Mm.
mum was, how your dad was. Yeah. that was never healed, and no one ever spoke into your life about those things, and you never ever addressed it. You never. Some men are just like their dads, and some women are just like their mums, because it's learnt behavior, you
Right.
know.
And
But we
some
can,
men are just like their mums, and
we,
some men.
Absolutely.
I was
yeah,
listening to
Absolutely.
a
yeah,
podcast where a woman said that she's just like her dad.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
and I think that it's important to be able to look at that, especially if it's the case that there was a breakup with your mum and dad. Yeah, especially looking at it from a trauma side, that affects you. That
Mm-hmm.
can affect how you view relationships in the future. You know what you're going to tolerate and what you're not going to tolerate, and this and that. Whereas we said earlier, and it's true, even if you're in a long-term relationship and you're not married, it's still going to bring changes to you.
Absolutely.
There's still changes.
Absolutely.
You can't have a single mentality, and I say it like that, single mentality, because that goes for men and women,
Mm-hmm.
and expect that everything's going to go good. If one doesn't have a single, well, you're in a relationship. So there's
Mm-hmm.
things that you used to do. If you're doing it together, great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you
So
do need time for yourself to do
can,
certain things as well.
can I
But if
ask
you're
Dennis
doing
a
things,
question? Sorry, go
yeah,
on. Finish your sentence.
no, I was going to say, if you're doing things that a single person would be doing, then you need to check yourself as to why you're doing. Because I had to check myself.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
doing things that a single person would do. You know, and I'm married. You know, and so hence why I'm a divorcee, because I had hurt from the relationship, so I chose to act a different way. There wasn't infidelity with one of my wives at all, but I couldn't be around you. But I surrounded myself with females,
Mm-hmm.
and when she knew I surrounded myself with females, of course she's gonna feel insecure. Of course she's gonna feel like I'm unfaithful, because for years she said I was unfaithful.
Mm-hmm.
I was unfaithful from surrounding myself with women, but the deed I never did. Thought about, never did. So what I'm saying is that trauma, or my brokenness that I had, kept me in a place for years until I understood it. That
Mm-hmm.
if I'm married, I can't act like an unmarried man. People will say, "What do you mean?" There's a way a married man and a married woman is supposed to conduct themselves. Yeah, a woman comes to chat to you, a man comes to chat to you. There's always beautiful people out there, but when we opened up, we talked about the fruit, the forbidden fruit. It's always gonna look good. Always. It's gonna, just the same as Eve looked at it, yeah, and Adam said, "Damn, yeah. What do you mean I can't eat this?" You know,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna be drawn to want to eat it, but know the right thing to do.
So
That's, that's,
I
that's
wanted
just
to
a
ask
thought
you
in my mind.
this. I wanted to ask you this, Dennis. You know, you spoke about, so Paul asked the question about what do you do if you don't have the time, you don't have the money, you know, you don't have the resources basically to go and get the help and the support. And you
Mm-hmm.
were saying, you know, look at those people who have been married for a really long time, and you can glee from them. Yeah. Did you have wise counsel around you? Did you have the right people around you speaking into your life, and refuse to be open and transparent? Or did you just not have the right people around you?
I, I was, how can I say, you just think you know it all. You just
Right.
think you know it all. You've been there,
Mm,
done that.
Believe your
Nobody
own
could tell you that.
ideologies.
Yeah. So
mm,
exactly. So I'm just
snap.
being transparent, which is just that I'm into myself, and that's your business. Sure, I'm good. You ain't good. I'm good. As long as I'm good, that's all that matters. A friend came over, and I'm still till today. I think she called, and I don't really listen to everybody, to be honest with you, and
Yeah.
that could be a bad thing. You know, you understand what I'm saying? Because not everybody come with good intentions. You understand? I've learned
That's
that over
right.
my lifetime. So you put up a shield, you put up a wall, you take everything somebody come at you with a grain of salt. But that day he came over to he came at midnight. He had never been to all the years I've been, never been to my house. And he told me he had went to Home Depot to get a lawnmower at midnight. And I just,
Who's that? Who's that? The counselor?
my friend, no.
Right.
My friend, the guy, they from
Oh,
Trinidad. He's Jamaican, but they from Trinidad. But
yeah.
he came in, but that was my good friend. That's my dog. I love him. I love him like a brother. But he just came, knocked to the door, and I'm telling you, and he said, "Can I talk to you outside?" I just thought it was. I said, "Hey, what's up, man? Where you going?" Oh man, I was on my way to get a lawnmower. Yeah, I was going to get a. I'm saying to myself, a lawnmower at midnight, man. I must be boo boo the fool that you gonna tell me something like that. But I went with it. I mean, I went with it. We went downstairs and let me say something to you. This is the truth. Everybody different. His delivery to me, the way he spoke it to me. He spoke it soft where I could understand. And he used the word of God. He knew I'm a spiritual person. But he came at me in a way where he made it look like he wasn't prying. He wasn't in my business. And then he let me open up a little bit. And that was the big thing about church. That was the whole thing. He came and I was like, man, listen, man, for this thing to work, man, we got to go to church. The church is just a building. But if you don't utilize what's inside the building, then you're fooling yourself. You just go sit down, get a message, jump in your car, and you leave. That was, I was just, I don't know. I was naive in that, and that's when he told me. And I said, man, I'm trying to get to heaven, man. When I get to heaven, I want to see my wife there. I want to see my son there. That's why I go so hard at it. Maybe and my approach was dead wrong. You understand? I was dead wrong. I was wrong. Oh my God. If I could go back, oh my God, I would spank myself, man. I would live respectful. What are you doing? What are you talking about, man? And that's when he told me, he said, Dennis, listen, I understand what you're saying. But brother, he said, she responsible for her soul and you responsible for your soul. So with you as a man of the house, the head of the house, keep doing what you're doing, because it's gonna come around. Because I was impatient. I wanted it right now, because right now, and I only knew my way. And when he left, I didn't hear nothing he said when he was talking to me. But what happened? And when he left me, I went home, went in the room, and I processed everything he told me, and God convicted me. But by that time the damage was done. It's when you stop communicating, when you start hearing crickets. You remember y'all used to talk, girl, this, man. You remember we did this, went over here, and now you got those long rides home from. Like we had our family. Let me show you something. We had our with our friends. Man, we laughed and everybody, ha ha ha, Dennis, do that, all that. We get in the car. We don't say a word to each other all the way home. Not a word, nothing, zero. And then as it becomes a pattern where you're holding all this stuff inside. And then what you start doing is you go to other people and they give you bad information. They say less is more. But when you start spilling your life, man, if I was you, man, I go club, man, look at all these little men, you could get another woman. Like, what? And then I realized, man, you better stick with the crazy you got than the crazy you don't know. But you thinking that it sounds good because that's when you was in your 20s and your 30s. And when you get older, those things come to pass. It's different, man. You got to think different. Your way of life. When you get married, things change. It's not just you. It's us. It's we. There's no I in team. We together every time. When you move, you're supposed to move with your family. And you shouldn't go listening to telling your tales to all these different people, because everybody have a different opinion. It's someone that you got to trust, that don't tell me what I want to hear. Give me the truth. Tell me about myself. I want you to tell me the unadulterated truth about myself. Tell me I'm no good. Tell me I'm sorry. Say, man, that woman going to leave you, man. You better change your ways, man. I'm telling you. That's what I want to hear. I don't want to hear, oh, yeah, man, you're right, man. Man, if I was you, man, look, leave this woman alone, man. Let her do what she wants. And when you do the latter, she leaves. She leaves, and then you want to know why she left. And you want to know what you do. You want closure. I'm done. I've been trying to tell you for a long time. We as men, we speak to our women, but I don't think our women hear us when we talking, because we say some things. Go ahead.
Did you get the opportunity to, or have had the opportunity to share with her on this kind of level? Did you have the opportunity to, say I'm sorry, and did No.
I
It
think
runs a lot
that
deeper. It's a lot deeper than that, isn't it,
it
Dennis?
is deeper. It's deeper than that. So, and I want to say something. This is true. Love ain't got nothing to do with this
No.
conversation. It's about loyalty, commitment, and trust.
Loyalty.
You have to have those pillars in your marriage in the beginning, where that man or that woman feel comfortable enough to come to you and say, "Baby, listen, this is how I'm feeling." You know. And when I spoke my truth to my ex-wife, it became scared. And then what they did, they used it against me. That's what happened to me. It took whatever I said when I really was saying that I was afraid. I'm not afraid of you or nobody. No, it's
Yeah,
afraid. It's
yeah,
a fear that is unexplainable. It's not a fear of
yeah,
man. It's just a fear of certain
yeah.
kind of thing. Those are the fears that keep you up at night. Man, I go to all my doors. I had prayed. I touch everything. I even my ex-wife, when she was sleeping, I would slide my hand under. She slept all the way on the edge of the bed. And I'm being honest with you guys. I slide when she was in a deep sleep. Because when I would touch her at night, she would jump. And I would slide my hand under and I would pray. I knew I was in trouble, but I didn't know how to get out of my way. You understand? I was left to my own devices. When you're left to your own devices, fool, you're gonna make a mistake. You don't
Yeah.
know what you're doing. Look where you're at. You know,
Exactly,
until that
exactly.
person gone,
hmm
and she ain't never coming back. He ain't never coming back. You understand? And that's why you gotta go seek wise counsel. You can't just stay there in that mess and that confusion. Everything look good. Oh, she fine. He look good and all that. Man, ain't nothing but the enemy.
But
He
don't
know
you
you. He
think
know
that
what you like.
it just becomes repetitious because it
It's
doesn't matter
exactly,
that you're
exactly,
going to go to
exactly.
the next one.
And you go
Yeah,
back
it's
to
going
that
to be
emptiness. You
right.
go
It's
back
going to
to
be
the
that
emptiness,
and some
Paul.
more of your traumas and maybe their traumas as well.
Exactly.
That crazy
Yeah.
that you talked
Yeah.
about,
Yeah.
that crazy, you
Yeah.
leave that one
Yeah.
and you've never resolved anything yourself. So you find
Yeah. Because
somebody else
you're
and then
still empty,
that,
Paul. We still
yeah,
empty, and we
yeah,
go back to our what we know before. You go from all these people, and then they never fill that hole. And God gave
never.
you this gift. He gave you this beautiful gift right in front of you, and what you didn't do, you didn't honor it for whatever reason. Look, man, this was man. If you knew me back then, I was a whole nother person. You understand? I was a whole nother person. That arrogance, you can't bring arrogance into your marriage. You gotta let that go. That's for you, man. You gotta surrender all that stuff, man. You in a marriage, you with someone that loved your dirty drawers. Somebody that's gonna go down with you. That other person, you don't know what that person's gonna do, but
That's
you know
right.
that person that's with you right now, she gonna go to the mat for you. But that's the part of our selfishness. We can't see it until it's too late. I saw it,
See,
man. Look, all this stuff I know right now, Paul. I don't think the way God gave it to me. I mean, He gave it to me after she was gone, and I sat in my house and said, "Man, I get all this right now," and she gone. But in order for Him to do something brand new in my life, I had to let that go. You have to let it go completely and let Him put something back
yeah.
into your hand, something more rewarding, something that
It,
He has purpose for your life. And me, I just didn't know what the purpose was.
So can I ask this question?
Mm,
When I say this, it's not in a bad
mm,
term. Do you believe
mm,
that there is a male condition where men within themselves, they view things from such a different perspective? I know they say men are from Mars, women are from
mm,
Venus,
mm,
yeah. But do you think that there's that male condition where, like you mentioned it, where you think that you know it, the pride, the ego, the arrogance that really stops a man
Come with me.
from
Come with
opening
me.
up? Because women,
Come
we
with
we
me.
you hear it being said all the time. Women, we talk, and I spoke to a friend just yesterday, and you know we've just had some really good conversation. I have
Mm,
with some women, and they've
mm,
been really honest with me. I know women who's had affairs, you
mm,
know, their partner doesn't know, and there's been traumas there where they've been sexually abused, and this woman
mm,
doesn't want the husband to touch her, and then the man's gone and doing whatever he's doing with someone else.
mm,
Just a whole load of mess, yeah. But the reason why I asked that question is because when I was speaking to a friend of mine, and then I'm speaking to these women, and experience that I've experienced, it's like it's like all these men have been to the same school, you know,
mm,
and it's
mm.
like it can't be a coincidence that the mindsets are very similar. That's why I'm saying, is there a male condition where in their minds men think a particular way, they hold back. They don't want to get the support. They don't want to get the counselling, because they feel less than if they get the counselling. Because when I spoke, what is that noise? Can you hear that noise?
Is it raining there, Dennis?
Yeah, it's raining.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
When
Yeah, I thought so.
yeah, so when I spoke to a particular friend, and then somebody else, another lady, has said this to me, where they said that the man doesn't really know what the problem is. He doesn't really know why he does the things that he does. And so I said, so have you encouraged him to get counseling? And she said, yeah. Because if you don't know, then somebody else can dig deep, because this is what counselors do. They have the ability to ask you the right questions so that you will be able to find the answers to that problem. You right now, in his mind, he doesn't know how to ask himself the right questions to come up with the right answers. Yeah. Or
But
or let me put it this way, or he's not taking time out to be introspective, to sit with himself, to ask himself, why do I think like this? Because I said to her, it's as simple as him asking himself, why do I think like that? God will answer it for him.
Yeah.
Why do
Yeah, that's the challenge. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the challenge. What you see what you said, you hit the nail right on the head, to be introspective, to go. So what he did with me, he did a masterful job.
Mhm.
Masterful. He used scriptures. He gave me, because so when I was talking to him, I was desperate, and I was open. I was open to tell him. And then he said, when he went home, he put a plan together. I just didn't know it. He just baby feeded it to me, because I was against a lot of stuff he said. I was like, man, I was like, no, man, no, you got it. Man, what you mean I don't love my wife? What are you talking about, man? She don't. What are you talking about? All that stuff. And man, when he breaks it down for you, but that's when you avail yourself. That's when you
Yeah.
said you have surrendered. You have to come from a place of surrender, so God could really deal with your mind and your heart at the same time. Because most of the time, your mind is on a different way of living.
Oh,
it's
With
signal.
each other. You understand what I'm saying? Can you hear me?
yeah, you come back.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Uh-oh.
He can't hear us.
We can hear you. You can't hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he can't
Hello?
hear us.
How you do it?
Is his mic on though?
What I got?
Yeah, but it's on.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
on.
that from his side, the signal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
We can
he
hear
might
Get
you.
out of it and come back.
come back on.
You should let it reset, or maybe you should.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, he's there with his son as well.
Oh, right.
I see, and this is what's really good, that men are
Here he
talking.
is.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was saying that, when we look with it's very scary. It's very scary, Deborah, to look inside yourself, because you have to
No, I've
revisit
had to do
something.
it myself.
Yeah, well, so when you
I've
have
had
to
to do it
revisit it,
myself.
so some people really don't. When you say, "Baby, tell me what it is," and he can't tell you. It's not that he don't want to tell you.
No, sometimes you don't know.
You
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 ain't done
don't
the
know,
you
and
ain't done the work.
sometimes you buried it so far back in your past that it don't you it's out of sight, out of mind. You don't want to visit. But what it done, it affected your life, your relationship. I just never thought. You see what I'm telling y'all right now? I ain't never thought about that in my life. This stuff right now, I'm too busy, doing me and word and getting frustrated, not letting nobody rightfully divide it from me. Somebody said, "Okay, Dennis, sit down." So I took a pause in my life. God forced me to take a pause in my life. I didn't want to do it, because I would have went to my grave like it's dumber than a doorknob, not knowing nothing. And now when he gave me this information, so that's why I say, when I see my therapist and I tell him, he said, "Man, how you remember?" I'm telling you, Debbie, I can remember every word this man spoke to me. And you know the beauty of all of that? This is what he told me in the end. He said, "Brother, what I was telling you," he said, that's when he revealed to me, he said two things. I'm a pastor. I never knew. He never shared that with me. And then he said a second thing. You see what you went through? I went through the same thing. Don't tell me God can't do it. Don't tell me he can't do it. Don't tell me you cannot do it. The lady told me, Dennis, when I went to the lady, she said, why are you so defensive? Why? I said, but I gotta, no. She said, Dennis, listen to me. Whatever somebody think about you, you can't gonna change their mind. Just keep living.
There you
Just keep
go.
living. And
There
you go
you
tell
go.
your stories. Not everybody qualified to hear what you gotta say. And when
That's
you
right.
go in
Yes.
error to these people that give you these crazy, do this and don't do that, she this, he that, and you start buying into that bullcorn, because that's what it is bullcorn, you understand? Because that don't have nothing to do with nothing. But when you go to that one person that God has given to you, if you take time and be patient with it, and he will show you. He showed me. I didn't know. I mean, I'm not no holy moly person. I'm not. But I know that I believe in God. I believe that he do things that nobody can do, you know, and you could take out those dark places. A lot of men like myself, I was in a dark place. I didn't know. I stayed in that dark place for a very long time. I married somebody. I
And
was in a dark place.
many people are in the dark place. You know,
Absolutely,
they
Paul.
think they're in the light because, you know, that's what you think, you know, but the traumas, the brokenness is real, and you're in a dark place. And without that kind of therapy as well, without that
Introspect.
self-reflection and like you're saying, you're going to stay there and repeat and repeat and repeat. I'm a testament to that, of
Yeah.
repeating
My son
the
said
same
rinse. He
type,
said rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat is in a
Yeah.
vicious.
rinse
It's a
and
vicious.
repeat, for
It's in
real.
a vicious cycle that we be in, and we don't know how to get our own way, and we turn against the very person that's trying to help us. The person we sleep right next to, is called sleeping with the enemy. You all of a sudden you make this person your enemy, and this person try to love you. Say, look, baby, I understand what you're going. Let me help you. Open that door. But if I open that door, can I trust you? If I really tell you what's really going on, will you really, if I told you the thoughts that's really my deep, dark thoughts, will you leave? Or will you think of me less than when I start sharing my stories with you? That's the fear us as men have, that if I undress in front of you, a lot of us have childhood trauma, just like women. Women have childhood trauma. I'm not saying it's either or, but if we don't share that with our partner, our lifetime partner, you understand? It's out of fear. And God didn't give us a spirit of fear, but we
Fear.
operate out of fear because the very person that we love, the very object of our desire, we close them out.
Yeah.
You could hear crickets now. Remember when you first got together, how y'all talk? Y'all couldn't say enough to each other. And all of a sudden, you're on that long ride and you're trying to think of stuff to say. That's bad. That is very bad. That's not a good place to be.
You
That's
are
not,
so
especially
right.
if you prolong it. If you prolong it, so when I would go to pick up my wife and my son up at school, you know, he was 5. He was all full of energy. Mama, let me tell you, and she worked at the school. And she was, and I was at Julia, I can't listen to the both of y'all at the same time. And I just, that's what I did. And I kept all this stuff that was going on inside of me. I wanted to tell somebody, but the person and that's not her fault, no. That's not her fault.
See,
Because
and it's a person you wanted to tell how you felt. She'd close their ears to you for whatever reason.
and then you build
And
up
that's what it
resentment.
is that
Then you
the person
build
that you
up
say you love,
resentment. That's the killer. The resentment, it
oh,
kills it takes your
you
energy,
want to
it
tell them.
kills you. It
Yep,
kills you, man.
you want to express everything, your thoughts, the way certain things affect you, you know, so that you two can heal together, because there's things that will affect her, you know, but you're gonna have to want it.
Exactly.
You know, and it's sad, you know, the shows do broken men equal broken marriages, and it's yes and no. Yeah, because as I said before, you as a male, us being broken, we're not in that place. We're not equipping ourselves to lead. We're not equipping ourselves to heal. We're not sharing our fear, like you said as well, because we assume, and it's true, and maybe in some cases we assume that she doesn't want to hear it. And those women that do hear it, those type of women, don't know how to digest that and deal with that. This is why scripturally you are the helpmate for us. Good reasoning that you should be giving us as well as our life partner. Because I can go wrong, but you have something in you that I don't have.
Mm-hmm.
God equipped you with something. That's why he said, you'll help me. There's something in you that I can meet in you, and you can help me to
Right.
lead, heal. God is our healer, but there's things in her that can, there's a word that I want, diffuse that thing that's ignited in us that's negative. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can light it and it will blow up, because a man will
Absolutely.
blow up.
Absolutely.
You know what? And that's the thing that we as men will get to that point, or her, that says, you know what? I done. I done. And it is the wrong attitude. What are you
Mm-hmm.
done? That's where you
Yeah.
express, not, oh, because you this and you that and you that.
Mm-hmm.
What is it that you have brought? Have you caught? And I said it earlier. What have you brought to the table that's caused the conflict? Or is it that you don't want to listen out of pride? Like
Yeah.
you said, rightfully,
Yeah.
you think you're right.
Yeah. You
Because
know,
I
Paul, a
think
challenge to me.
that was my problem.
Yeah, the challenge was me to go back in my mind, and he challenged me to go back, and he said, "I'm gonna show you something." And when he showed it to me, it was like a picture show. I could see it just in front of me. I mean,
Happened to
like,
me.
oh my God, oh my God, what, Dennis, what you was thinking? Come on, man, come on, Dennis, come on, man.
Mm-hmm.
And man, I tell you, I cried. I ain't lying to y'all, man. I cried every day, about 2.5 years, man. I cried. I
Mm-hmm.
ain't lying. I cried
Mm-hmm.
every day. I miss my family. I miss everything about the family. I miss everything, the noise, all the back and forth. I missed all that, and I cried. I cried, and then you just you're healing. And
Mm-hmm.
time doesn't
Absolutely.
heal. Time doesn't heal. It's God that heals, because He is the Father of time. He's the one that's going to heal us. And what He did a miraculous thing for me. And I said, I don't know if I ever be able to share that with nobody, but at least I didn't die not knowing. I know better
Mm-hmm.
now. And they say when
Mm-hmm.
you know better, you do better. Sometimes it takes a man with introspect that went and looked inside himself to talk to another man and say, man, this is what I went through. That's when we just sitting in the car, we ride, and we say,
Mm-hmm.
dog, this what happened, man. Listen, man, me and my girl was going through. Man, tell me something, man. Am I wrong for am I wrong with the way I posted, and then you meet someone like me, and I'll tell you, man, I'm telling you, I'll dissect it for you, because I can tell you I've been through it, and it's easy to say. It's hard for us to say when we're wrong that, hey, I'm wrong, babe, I'm wrong, and it's also hard for us to say when I'm hurting, or he got up, or he heard you have a conversation on the phone with your girlfriend about her husband. And we listen now. Don't get me wrong. We be next to that door, we be ear hustling, because we want to know. So if I'm saying, wait a minute, my woman's saying that about her husband, what she saying about me? I wonder what she's saying about me. So you mean to tell me I'm gonna trust this woman what I'm really feeling? Oh no, I go to my grave with that one. And that's the
Mm-hmm.
part, because the things that you say is going to affect your marriage. You know, a lot of time, and this is true, what I learned too, that if I get married again, I'm gonna date my wife till I die. I'm gonna date her,
Mm-hmm.
like for real. Make that special time for her to go and even if it's just a walk in the park, you
That's
know.
right.
And also, even the small, it's not the big things that matter,
No.
because those little things together, they become big. We
Mm-hmm.
forget about that good morning, that hello, how you doing, baby? I'm praying for you. I just called to tell you that I'm praying for you. I'm thinking about you. Especially when
Mm-hmm.
God puts somebody on your mind. He's not just putting
That's
it on
right.
your mind for a reason. He wants you to pray for that person. You don't
Mm-hmm.
necessarily have to call them, but to have the comfort for any man or any woman, to have the comfort to know that they person is praying for them throughout the day. Oh my God, I didn't understand that. I
Mm-hmm.
know this now. I didn't have a clue. I'm telling you, I didn't have a clue. But we make mistakes, and sometimes we don't
Absolutely.
know how to. We don't know how to say that we're wrong. I did you
Mm-hmm.
wrong. Can you forgive me? This is what I was thinking. This is how I was feeling. But I thought if I told you what I was really feeling, you'd walk away, or you
Mm-hmm.
think of me less than. And that's the fear of every man, because we're supposed to be the strong man in the marriage. We're supposed
Mm-hmm.
to be that strong. We our backs are
But
tough.
women
We could
don't
take it.
think that though. Women don't think that. It's.
What y'all think? What y'all think, Deborah? Tell me what y'all think.
I think most women, the women that I come into contact with, and it's an array of women.
Mm-hmm.
A man being vulnerable, a man being transparent about who they are, is one of the most attractive things. A man that says, I felt like this. is attractive. I think when a man is just trying to just like be over masculine, like, and don't like, I think it stems from a man, a mother or a father probably saying, man up, you know, don't cry, don't show your emotions, don't be like that, is the complete opposite to what a woman is expecting. Like, I don't know most mums that will just say, don't cry. It's normally the man that will say, don't cry, because, you know, you're meant to be a man, you know, you're not a girl.
Oh, some women, some mums do that.
Some women do, some moms
Yeah,
do.
but
A
I'm
lot
saying,
of moms. Yeah, a lot of moms. Yeah.
like, I had that with my ex-husband. Like, my middle son, he would cry, you know, and he would just be like, why are you crying? Like, you're not a girl, you're not a girl.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, I spoke to all of my boys and I said, let me tell you something. As a mum, if you don't share your tears, it later on in life, when you meet somebody, you're not going to show that vulnerability. Do you get what I mean? You're not going to be able to express, and it's not just about tears, you know, because tears is an expression. Yeah, it's about the tears in and of itself is expressing something. If you stop allowing yourself to cry, you also stop yourself from being able to express. Do you get what I mean? So it's not so much about the tears that are falling, it's the ability to express that pain that you're feeling and express how you're processing certain things. Because even when I've spoken to men and they've said to me, I think because I'm a counselor, I know to ask the right questions. So when a man's explaining how they feel about something, they will say things like, I didn't want to say that, like, it's that negative dialogue. I didn't want to say that because I thought that she would think this. And I say, what makes you think that she will think that? Well, that's how I think that she will think. Now you're trying to think for a woman, but you're not thinking for a woman. You're thinking what a next man would say to you. You're thinking, if you was to express this to your brethren, they're going to be like, you're idiot. Do you know what I mean? Why are you being like that? You sound like a wuss. Do you get what I mean?
It depends on, I think it depends on the type of nature that woman is, because there are those women who will think like how you think some brethren will treat you. Like,
yeah, but where is she getting that from?
and some
She
of
might be
it
getting that
is,
from her
I think some of
father.
it is from
She
her
might be getting that
past.
from her mum who was probably in a relationship
Yeah.
where there was some kind of abuse, where she was just like, you know,
or media, anything, for
wherever.
real.
But I'm saying a woman, when a man shows his vulnerability, when a man is open and transparent, that is one of the most attractive characteristics that a man can have, when you be able to express yourself. There are those women, but I have
think
to.
Women, I think those type of women need to express themselves like that to some men who are clamped and they're not expressive. I just want you to let you know that, you know,
It's
when you
okay to
talk to me,
say.
no matter how gentle or how vulnerable you are, I'm going to still support you and I'm still going to love you. And it doesn't matter what you say. I don't see you as weak. I mean, when Catherine said to me, I don't see you as weak, you know, because that was my ideology as well. That, you know what, I ain't going to show that. I remember when I stopped crying.
It's
Because I said, I'm done with all that, what I deemed as the soft touch. So turning into, it
Dennis, you
wasn't
said
who I
it.
was.
Dennis said it earlier on as well. He said, in an argument, don't say certain things in an argument, and so forth. So if a woman says, when a man is showing his vulnerability or something in an argument, and that woman says, oh, do you know what, you're just acting like a girl or whatever, yeah, naturally that man isn't going to want to have that conversation with you again, not like down the road. He's just like, I'm never gonna have that conversation with you again. Whereas
You
a
know the
woman,
biggest.
don't think like that. A woman, if the roles were reversed, a woman will think about a time when she can have that conversation with you again.
Some.
She will never. All right, all right. Let me speak for myself and those that are around me.
Right.
Yeah.
You will never not have that conversation again.
Mhm.
Typically with a woman, you would have to say that several times to her for her to feel like, do you know what? I'm never going to have that conversation. Men are very different in that wise. Men will have something happen and they'll say, never do that again. Whereas with a woman, they tend to wait a little bit, like try it again. And then after that, I do know a couple of women actually that they draw lines in the sand very quickly. And I've had conversations with them about that. Why do you draw lines in the sand very quickly? And when you see where that's traced back to, is because this is what their mum was like. They never got a second chance. Never got a second chance. And so in their mind, they're like, I'm not even giving you a second chance to make a fool of yourself. You know, and
I
so
learned.
it's learnt behavior. Do you get what I mean? But what I'm saying is that what you've shared, Dennis, is so much nuggets and such vulnerability, which I'm really, really appreciative of, because I think that, and you touched on it a little bit about things having to happen in order for you to be introspective and for you to acknowledge what is actually going on. And the worst thing, I think, it's good and bad. You know, people experience extreme traumas before they start to be introspective. Lots of things happen. People lose people get into accidents, people divorce, all manner of stuff before they say, let me start to do the work. But before that happens, there's always an opportunity for you to start doing that work. Always.
Never too late. Never too late. Never too late. Never
But
too late.
people
Never
wait
too late.
until it gets so, like, till their face is on the floor before they start putting in the work. And it's never too late. Like, but why would you wait until things get really, really bad?
You know, one of the valuable things I learned, and this is the truth. I think not discrediting somebody's feelings. That's what I did with my ex-wife. And I learned that you're entitled to your feelings, and I should be respectful of your feelings. If you say it hurt, it hurt. If you say it make him feel bad, it feel bad. Ain't nothing gonna change that. Me getting mad, me fussing at you. I gotta say, baby, I understand. But that bravado in you, that ignorance in you, it come out of, well, what you mad for? Why you crying? I know you just sit there like boo-boo the fool. And he told me this. He said when she told you, she would cry herself to sleep. He said, listen, I understand as a man, you were going through some things, but that don't absolve you of the fact that your woman needed you. You didn't go to her. You didn't hug her up. You didn't tell her, baby, I got you. Man, I cried. Oh my God, that was my breakthrough. That was the part where when I was in his office, I sat he was right next to me. And when he told, I said, Mr. Reed, charge me for what I know, but don't charge me for what I don't know. A lot of time, us as black men, we just don't know. And I'm just honest. Listen, you know why I speak the way I speak? I've lived the majority of my life. You can't do me nothing no more. I mean, I ain't no little 20-year-old, no little 40-year-old. You know, I've lived the majority of my life. And if I could share some light for somebody, maybe if this helps somebody somewhere along the line and make you rethink how you've been approaching your significant other, you know, then kudos. All praise go to God, because he makes this happen. He had to prune me, to take everything away from me, for me to open my eyes, because he said, can you see me now? Can you hear me now? Because you club with all this nonsense around you and you think you're the man and you're not the man. You know, and I didn't know how to cry. I used to go hide and cry. I used to go in the closet and sit down and cry by myself, and nobody understand. Nobody knows the pain, the struggle that I'm going through, because I don't know how to communicate it to the person that I sleep next to every night, not telling her how she hurt me. Like we would be at a house and we talking, like she being with a group of ladies and I be with the guys and I'm talking. No, Dennis, that didn't happen that way. No, that didn't. That's when you emasculate a man. You cannot emasculate your man and expect him to come home and be happy with that. Then he make you weaken him. You be like, he can't stand on his 2 feet because you constantly over talking him. You want to be the man. You want to be the force. And you know, you can't do that. At some point, any man worth his sweat off his brow would form a tremendous amount of resentment towards his woman. And sometimes we don't know how to dumb it down for our man. We don't know how to dumb it down for our woman. and let that person have their perspective. I had a big personality. She told me that when she gave me the divorce paper. She told me that. She said when you would walk in the room, you suck all the air out of the room. Everybody would come to me. I mean, I'm making everybody laugh, and my marriage was on the rocks. You get me? Making everybody laugh. When I get in that car, we get quiet. We get home, and then I'd have to tell her, look, I'll give her this speech. Every time I say, look, we're going over to their house. I mean, please, whatever you do, don't emasculate me. I mean, you ever hear any one of those men or women talk, even though they got problems in their marriage? All this time we've been knowing them, you ever hear them say anything about their marriage? No, they're going to talk when we leave, but they ain't going to never say nothing in front of the crowd. But you have to tear me down. And man, that did something to me. You understand? I felt that my wife did not respect me as a man, and also I was struggling, so I was sick. I was battling cancer, and man, listen, I don't know anybody. Cancer is a tough thing. It's tough for anybody. Marriages break up, relationship break up, because you don't understand when that darkness comes. It's very, very difficult, man. I can't tell you how difficult it is to fight through that process, especially if you're in a relationship. And if that relationship is kind of shaky, then here comes something else. It'll tip it over. That person will find some kind of reason to leave, because they say, well, I'm looking, the grass is green on the other side, all this stuff right here. And then now you're sick, and now you want to, no. I'm out. But she talked to the right person. Girl, if I was you, I would leave and don't even look back. And that was my thing, I was embarrassed to share it with I'm telling you guys, I was embarrassed. I kept this thing to me for a long time. I speak about relationship because it's so important to stay as a family. The enemy wants to divide the family. Absolutely. And if we don't try our best to work on our relationship, do these small little workshops and get to someone that you trust, someone that's going to tell you the truth. Don't tell you what you want to hear. That's cheaper that way. Go to somebody, and if you have money, if you have time, if your marriage is close to on the rocks, I'm telling you, invest in your marriage. Not in the end, all throughout the marriage, you're investing, because it's gonna pay great dividends down the road. But you gotta invest. I learned all this. God gave me this thing straight off the press, because I just didn't know. I mean, I didn't know, and why would somebody want to build a life with you and they have tremendous resentment towards you?
That's right.
Nobody wants to be in a resentful marriage where either a man is nagging or that woman nagging. But I know us as men, you don't want that nagging, man. When you come through the door, oh God, man, here she go again. But I didn't have that in my marriage. That's not what I had. I wish I had that, but I didn't have that nagging in my marriage. I just didn't know. When this thing came to me, it just came out of the blue. And what a person said when you was in the hospital. You remember those 2 times you was in the hospital? I went to the lawyer then. I didn't know. We took a trip to Trinidad. We having a great time, and I come back, not that day, but the next day, our bag still packing. She said, Dennis, I need some melatonin and some water. And I went, got out of bed and went, get her some melatonin. She was sleeping on the sofa. I don't know why she slept 2 nights in a row. She was trying to tell me I just was blind as a bat. And when I handed her the water and the melatonin, bam, she gave me the divorce paper. Wow. My knees collapsed. My knees, my heart. Oh my God! Listen, I've had many surgeries. I've never felt that much pain in my life. Wow. You understand? And I begged. I was on my knees. And I'm telling you guys, you're gonna be where I'm at, begging and asking her, give me another chance. And she said, no, I'm finished. I'm done. And then she started giving you a litany of all the things that you did wrong. And you're on your knees and you're begging, please, like you're going to die, like something is choking you. And then she said, I'm done. Yeah. There's nothing you can do. You could cry me a river. Remember when I was crying? Remember all those times I told you I was going to cry? Where were you? Well, now you're crying? I don't care about your tears. I'm out. I'm done. I'm taking my child and I'm gone. You understand? Don't do like me. I mean, if you can fix it at all costs. Do what it is that you need to do necessary to sit. Don't give the enemy what he wants. He wants you to go at each other. He wants you to, on both sides, find common ground before it's too late. And if you think your marriage is good right now, think again. You need to, while it's good, you should go. That's a maintenance that you do, a maintenance on your relationship, that you're constantly going do these self-help group. If you're able to do them, you could do them online and try to keep your marriage together. And you also got to own up to your responsibility in the marriage. That's just what I did wrong. Look, I did wrong. Baby, I apologize. I'm gonna work on it. I'm gonna work on it. And it should be vice versa. You know, it wasn't until I went to we went to a it was, I think I might have been married, my son was like maybe 3. I went to a self-help thing, and she begged me. She said, Dennis, if you come, if we go, are you going to participate? And she begged, she said, look, I'm not going to invest no money. And I said, no, I promise you, I'm going to give it my all. And you know what happened when I went there, Paul and Debbie? I walked in and I saw myself across the room. I saw a man sitting with his wife. That fellow like that. He didn't want to be there no more than the man in the moon. And I just said to myself, I said, that's me. Oh my God. Oh my God. And when I veiled my mind, when I freed my mind from all them distractions, I was laser focused on that couple. They were married 55 years. They were dentists and they were from New Orleans. So when they spoke my language, and I was able to understand. And then they call it coffee and conversation, tea and talk. You know, that's in the morning time. You know, find some kind of way to just make that time to get up early, make that significant, vice versa. You know, this is a small thing that matters. And you could go out the house with a smile on your face. My woman thinking about me, I'm thinking about her. I don't care what come in my face. I'm laser focused on my job and my family. I'm trying to get back home to the person that I love, the person that got me no matter what happened. I know that looks nice over there, but will he or she do what he or she does for me?
That's right.
And the question always came back, no. Man, you better stay in your place. You be able to, but again, I was sick. Didn't know that I was sick and didn't know how to get out of my own way till everything was gone. And I'm saying to all of you, you know, before it happens, you know, look inside yourself. Really look deep inside yourself.
So what about if it already has happened? Because there were people who hold on, like you were saying. You know, the hope was that you and your wife would get back together. What would you say to people who they have already separated and they have gone their own separate ways? Is there any conversations, anything that you could encourage them with?
I think, honest with you, it depends how the breakup was. If it was a good or bad breakup, it matters. You know, not everybody's going to be receptive, because sometimes when someone is gone, I know what I did. You know, I hung on for a long time, and I just had a conversation with God, and He said, in order for me to do something better for you, you got to let that go. You know, and if it comes back, it was meant to be. But you don't have to focus on a relationship. Focus on yourself. Get better. Get yourself better. Self-help, do yourself better. So what you hear today, right now, that was me breaking away from that marriage. Maybe the first week I was in counseling, it was all about marriage. And then he told me, is she gone? And I cried. She came, she did a session with us. And he said this would hurt me the most out of all of that, when he said on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being the worst, 1 being the best, he was trying to find one little inkling to try to work with us on, right? And he said on a scale from 1 to 10, I ain't gonna never forget this the rest of my life. I'm gonna laugh now, but I think it wasn't laughing. It wasn't laughing when it was happening to me. It felt like, so he said, when he asked her, she's sitting right next to me, and she said, a 12, and she bust out laughing. I cried. Oh my God, my son was on the other side of the door. True story. I cried when he told me. He said, look at you, man. You're pitiful. You're snotting all over the place. You're crying all over the place. You're weak. Why would she want you? Why would anybody want you looking like that? And that's the part that and I experienced that, was that when somebody see your vulnerability, will they be able to accept it? Will they see you the same way? And that's a challenge for most men, black, white, young, old, that if I really tell you my vulnerabilities, and will at some point in that marriage, will you come back and tell me about it?
Yeah, there's a difference between being vulnerable and being weak, though. There is a difference.
Yeah. No, I know the difference. Yeah.
If you're with somebody who's just constantly just weeping and a couple of conversations and you can't hold it together, you know, you need to be able to be strong
Yeah.
but be able to be vulnerable. Being
Mm-hmm.
vulnerable doesn't mean you're weak.
No,
Right,
not at
right,
all.
right.
Being
Right. I
Really
think
being
just
texted.
keep living. I think when you just
You know,
start keep living and you get out and you start breathing fresh air and you start getting out and you start living, start taking care of you, because you're no good to that person anyway if y'all get back together,
That's
because
right.
you've not
absolutely,
worked on yourself.
You haven't
You're
done the
not
work.
worked on yourself.
absolutely.
Absolutely.
You read some of
Dennis,
the
this
text.
has been absolutely fantastic. I wanted, even though Trevor's actually gone, I wanted to read his comments. He said both an ex-girlfriend and my ex-wife both came from a home where the fathers walked out. When there was challenges, they were ready to end it because they think I will act like their dad. And then
Oh
he said,
wow. Wow.
you can't go back. There were lessons needed to be learned this way. And yeah, I think it's valuable. And yeah, some people, they do run. They run
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
you know, that's what they've seen.
It's not for everybody though, Debbie. Not everybody could handle your truth, especially
Yeah.
when you speaking your truth. When you finally come to that place where you're comfortable and you say, "Whew, can I tell you now? Can I really tell you now?" And I feel I trust you with all my flaws. You mean to tell me you still love me? That frees a man up. That frees a woman up. That I don't care what you went through, girl. I got you. I don't
Yeah.
care, man. I'm talking about right now. I ain't talking about what happened back then, but we could work on what happened back then. But you got to
Yeah.
give me all the pieces. You can't give me parts of the story. You got to give it all to me. And I was a very private person, private with my emotion, what I felt. I was all, you never see a tear out of my eye. Being strong. Yeah, I looked like I didn't care, but I really did. But we taught not to show that, not to show that vulnerability, you know, that weakness, because it's a sign of weakness. And I know, I mean, I understand my situation better than anybody. I speak on it because I found my truth. I found my truth through tragedy, through losing something. But there was some nuggets that I gained, and
Absolutely.
there's many people I share with. If they ask me, you know, would you get married again? Absolutely, I would get married.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Listen to
Always
me. I
believe
mean,
in love.
yeah. You know, let me
One
tell you
second,
something.
Dennis. One
Go ahead.
second. I'm gonna read what Just Serenity said.
Okay.
Oh, to do with what you're saying. I agree completely that as a woman or as women, we need to put in the work to respect our men. Don't emasculate and watch our tone. Be supportive in using our words to uplift and to discuss over disagree.
Yeah. Wow.
She also said, let's move that up. But at the same time, it takes a very self-contained, mature thinking man to be able to receive this type of treatment in appreciation over
Absolutely.
expectation.
Absolutely.
Also, she says, men can forget to see women after a while of being with them. And I hear that. There are those men that don't see the beauty anymore. You're just my
Right.
wife, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, my wife's at home and you're with your pals. You don't see her anymore, you know. You don't like you said, that dating, you know, that loving after her. I went out the door today, and you know, my marriage isn't without flaws, but
Uh-huh.
I was just popping out to the shop, and I said to Catherine, and I kissed her, and I said, because I don't know if I'm coming back. I may say I'm coming back, but I'm driving, and anything can happen at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Let the last thing that she remembered is that I saw her
Mm-hmm.
and kissed her, irrespective of her, you know, because
Absolutely.
that's important. It's important to
Mm-hmm.
me, you know. So, you know, a lot of the things that you said, you know, it resonates, you know, because we talk,
Right.
resonates with our
Right.
past,
Right.
our present, you know, and you know, Dennis, you never anticipated coming on so long. I remember I said at the beginning of the show,
No.
he's not,
Yeah,
he's not, he's just gonna pop on, and but
Right.
your
yeah, I really
story,
appreciate
You
it.
just let the spirit. You let the
I
spirit
never,
have his way,
I
Paul.
never get tired of your story,
Yeah.
huh?
Yeah. You let the Holy Spirit
Say
have his
again.
way. You let the
Oh,
Holy Spirit have
absolutely.
his way. You
You-
know. You just. I did. I
That's
said I was
why,
gonna come in for like 5 minutes. I was gonna say hi,
yeah,
bye, say a little few things, Yeah, but
No,
this
it's
is
been
good. This is
awesome,
good.
and
It was
it's been
necessary.
necessary. It's been
Yes, look at that.
necessary,
Been
and
necessary
Me and
because
you know why it's necessary,
hmm
and I really believe that it's God inspired, is because
mm,
the conversation that I've been having with some women,
uh,
because don't get don't get it wrong, us
uh,
women have a big part to play in the
absolutely,
restoration and the healing of our men. We have a big
absolutely,
part to play.
absolutely,
And
absolutely, absolutely.
you know, I wanted to read this in terms of supporting. So
Uh,
a supportive
uh-huh.
partner can play a
yes,
crucial role in helping a broken individual to heal. Showing compassion and understanding and patience is
Mm,
totally essential, because
mm,
the thing is, if you if things are not right within your spouse or your intended or whatever, if things are not right, why not step back and look at it through different eyes? I'm saying this to the woman: look at it through different eyes, because
mm-hmm.
you will realize that there is some kind of pain, some kind of trauma that
Yeah,
is going on there, and you have to kind of step back and take yourself out of it
yeah,
a bit, and don't take everything so personal,
yeah,
because
yeah,
sometimes it's because you're taking everything personal that you're not able to see that this man is
yeah. They
broken,
call that fresh
that
eyes.
he's
You look at
healing.
it with fresh eyes. What you're saying is somebody
Absolutely.
fresh eyes. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Because when I speak to some of these ladies and I say to them, like, this has been a theme amongst my friends all the time.
Mm-hmm.
They always say, Debbie always says, what about the other side of the coin? You know, because I don't believe that there are bad and wicked people. God has not created us like that.
mm-hmm.
I believe that the essence of us, the core of us is good, but that has
Mm-hmm.
been corrupted. And when it's corrupted, it malfunctions. Do you get what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And when it malfunctions, it looks ugly. It looks
Right.
horrible. It's twisted, and it can hurt. And
Mm-hmm.
so I say to the woman oftentimes, think about who God created. Like, you know, the essence of you is good. You do foolish stuff. You say foolish stuff
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
so forth. But you know, if you think about yourself, you know the essence of you are good, is good, but
Mm-hmm.
the things that you get yourself involved in, that's the thing that makes things manifest. And so, you know, I really appreciate you sharing what you shared, and on the level that you shared, I think it's really gonna benefit
Right.
so many women and men, but really men, to be really
Mm-hmm.
introspective and to do the work, and to do the work
Absolutely.
like now, not when things hit the fan. Like, start
Mm-hmm.
putting in the work, do the whole maintenance thing. Don't
Mm-hmm.
wait for the car to break down, you know.
Yeah.
Be kind to yourself and be kind to your spouse and so forth. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
this has been a
and
really
also
good
Yeah,
for
yeah. I think we just
also
working on
for those.
yourself, Paul. When you work on yourself and stop focusing on the woman and work just on
Mhm.
yourself, you're gonna open your
Absolutely,
eyes, gonna be so
absolutely.
fresh and wide open. You're gonna be like, man, I've been neglecting this woman, this queen, the woman that God gave to me, and here I am acting a plum fool.
I think
I'm
I think
telling you, I've been there.
for those men and women who are separated, there is always the possibility, when you reflect and grow and understand why it went wrong, and
Hmm.
especially if you've got children as well. I'm
Right,
speaking to those that have children.
right.
You might think it's too late because you've had partners since then and everything else.
Hmm.
It's never too late.
Never
Once
too.
you're grown and growing and
Hmm.
understand what you brought to the table at the time, and you're healing, it can
Hmm.
repair. You know,
Absolutely,
it if
absolutely.
you want it to.
Hmm.
If
so
you want
far.
to stay stagnant and not grow and not get
Right,
past your traumas and your
right.
brokenness, that's exactly what will happen. Your part.
Absolutely.
That's why I'm a divorcee twice, because
Hmm.
I never saw me. You know, maybe I would have been married, maybe I wouldn't if I had gone through the healing process
Hmm.
before my first wife.
Right.
Who knows whether I would have only had the one married now or then
Hmm.
or whenever in the future, you know,
Mm,
had I, because I knew, from young, I knew I had certain little issues
Hmm.
having girlfriends. I saw little things, but who was there to speak into my life? You know, my dad,
Yeah.
no. You know,
Yeah.
this is why, as men as well, we must speak into our children's life.
Yeah.
Notice I
Absolutely.
said children, into the girls, into the boys. We've got to be open and transparent and honest to set them on the
Absolutely.
path that they don't fail where we fell down,
Uh,
because we're supposed to have learned now.
yeah.
Yeah. And if we've learned, then we can set them down on the right road, and the choices are theirs because they've got the tools and the understanding because we've given it to them. If you
Absolutely.
don't, if you don't grow and you don't understand you, there's nothing that
Mm.
you can give to your children.
Nothing.
You're there and
Nothing.
you're ripping them down, yeah, and shouting
Yeah.
everything else like that, and they
Yeah.
don't know why. Why is my dad carrying on like this? Why is my mum
Yeah.
carrying on like this? But
Yeah.
what have you equipped them with in relationships? Because that's what's going to happen. They're going to have a
Yeah.
relationship in the future.
Yeah.
So what have you equipped them with to be able to
Yeah.
deal with pressure, deal with if there's problematic situations?
Mm-hmm.
What have you given them? What tools? And I think
Right.
it's important. So I'm speaking
Yeah.
to you men as well out there, and women.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
utilize the skills that you've learned about yourself now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're a shouter and a screamer, why
Mm.
do you shout and why do you
Right.
scream?
Right.
If you're one that throws something across the room or punch walls, why do you do that? What is your
Mm-hmm.
frustration? What
Yeah.
ignites you to get to that place to
Yeah.
act in that manner? Because it's not positive. Yeah?
Right.
That energy that you're bringing is not a positive energy. So
Absolutely.
it's to look at that. And if you're a womanizer or a mananizer, why do you feel you need to give yourself to these women or to these men?
Yeah.
Give yourself up. You're stacked.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
your numbers are out of just in a
Yeah.
out there. You know, I know what that's like when it's out
Yeah.
there, but it's understanding why. You
Yeah.
know,
I
you
think when
have
you
to
when you
understand why.
up,
So
for
that's
me, it
my
was being so
other world.
close on something you can't see. But when you're up
You
1,000
can't
feet
see.
up, you could see it. So you, I mean, I'm telling you,
Oh
Debbie,
gosh.
this is the truth. When I was so close on it, I couldn't see. And then when I got up way up high and I looked down and I
You're
saw the
right.
foolishness, the foolery and the
You're right.
foolishness of the mistakes that I made, you're like, man, you want to kick yourself. Now, I mean,
Oh
you say
gosh.
you love somebody, but I also say love has nothing to do with it. It's commitment, loyalty, and trust. You know, you have to have those are the pillars. You can't have, you don't have those things. You don't have love. Love should have brought you home last night. You know, because it ain't got nothing to do with love.
Woo,
You know, it's about
woo.
that person have commitment and trust and loyalty. That those things are. I didn't know that. I mean, you just see somebody, they're pretty, they're fine, and she got this great job, and but you don't trust her. You don't communicate. You is a more physical thing. So you get what you get. You can't complain when it goes off the rail because that's how you met. You met in a physical, but as far as when you're in somebody's mind, and I hear people say like people hustlers, they say, I don't want the lady body. I just want that mind. Because where the mind goes, the body will go. Don't let that go over your head. Because that's an amazing thing. I watch a hustler tell me that. I'm like, what that man talking about? Because if you mess with your head, he got you. You know, and this thing here, these marriages that we in, the relationships that we gain and we lost. When something, you have to go and examine yourself. You can't just
Absolutely.
go to the next relationship and hope, but examine. And after you've done all that you know to do with that relationship, you've forth the effort, but you can't stay on that curve for the rest of your life. Life goes on. It does, because that person, life is going on, and you have to find a way to pull yourself out and say, listen, if it comes back good, but while I'm out there, I'm still praying, I'm still trusting God, but I'm gonna get on with life. You know, we gotta live this thing, man. This life is so short, you know, and sometimes that bus
Mm,
has left the station and we still there. I've been there where God closed that door and I stayed there. I stayed. He
running
said,
after the
Dennis,
bus.
and you mad and you praying and you mad at me, and I told you it's finished, it's completed. Next. And I stayed, and I was miserable for a long time. And I just want to tell a lot of people that's listening, you know, watching, and get out of that misery. Get out of that misery, man, and go and live this life, man. You know, and this is the life God gave you, you know, and trust the path that God has you on. It's gonna have some ups, it's gonna have some downs. You're gonna have a lot of zigzags in it, but trust me, eventually it's gonna get better. because that's his promise to us as people. You know, he didn't intend for us to, we messed it up, not him. We
Yeah.
messed it up. At some point in that relationship, we
Mm,
stopped listening to God.
mm.
We left, we went on our own devices. Yeah, I was going to church, but a lot of times I did things on my own. I started to say, God, you working too slow. Let me jump in there and let me do this and let me do that. And me, I messed it up. I could honestly say, I messed it up. I did. There's some things that I should have done that I
Yep.
didn't do. But this
Yep.
life here, I
Yep.
cannot put that on God, because He gave me a beautiful son, gave me an amazing wife. You understand? I wasn't a good steward of it. I'm just being honest with you. I wasn't a good steward. I was undeserving of all this goodness this man gave me, and I didn't know how to get out of my own way. I didn't know how to say I'm sorry. I didn't say forgive me. Let's work on it. I'm wrong. I didn't know everything I got after the marriage, because I never stopped. Still till today, I still work on myself. I still want to. So I want, if God bless me with a wife, I want to be ready. I want to be prepared. You understand? I don't want to come with that old excess baggage that I brought from this other.
That's
Oh,
right.
she did me this. Oh, she did. Let me tell you something, Paul. I went a long time ago. I went on a date with a lady, and she said, "You're not ready." I was talking to her on the phone, and she said, "You're not ready." I said, "How old? You know how old I am? How old I got to be to get ready?" I think I'm ready. She said, "You know what? I'm gonna give you a chance." And she said, "We're gonna go." But one thing about women, Debbie, you guys are tremendous. I'm gonna give y'all do. Y'all tremendous planners. Oh my God. Any man don't think a woman don't plan, you a fool. You're a fool, because women plan, they're great planners. She had a plan. I get to the restaurant, we sit down and we have trade our little pleasantries, and then she said, tell me about your wife. What happened? And I'm like, what you mean? We spoke about it. She don't, just tell me, Man, I got on. I'm in therapy now. I shouldn't even be on a date, but I said, let me go. The old devil said, go, boy, go, you go. And look, man, I'm talking. And she looked at me, she stopped. And she said, you ain't ready. I said, well, hold on, wait a minute. When you asked me about my ex-wife, she said, you know what? You never asked me about me. That was done. I was
Ooh.
mad. I got in my car.
Ooh.
And I was on 285 going back home. I was mad. She didn't know I was mad. Gave her a hug. Said, we're gonna talk. We'll see. We'll talk again. And when I got in my car, that little voice said, "Fool, you see, you can't be mad at her. Why are you trying to date and you ain't even ready? You still got all that baggage." She could see all the emotion, how you talking about your wife. Oh, she this, and every now and then I say my wife instead of saying my ex-wife. So she was really looking for her person. When somebody's looking for their person, they look out for all these little nuances. They listen to your conversation, and they're gonna give you a chance, but they're gonna let you blow it. They're gonna let you blow it. And man, did I blow it? And then I waited a whole. I still haven't dated anybody, but all that time I had to really go deep. When you're in that treatment and you're trying to get your mind right, don't try to go be with nobody else. Don't try to go sow your seeds or anything like that. Really, if you're really true about getting healing in yourself, look at internally. And I'm telling you, God going to give this tremendous amount of wisdom to you, knowledge to you about yourself, not about your wife or your ex. No, about you, the things that you've done wrong. And it was painful for me to watch and listen to myself, all the things I did wrong, Debbie. I mean, when I sit down and I think about it, I cried for a long time. I said, "Fool, how you couldn't get out your way?" Because when you stand up there and you're all tough and you don't want to, nobody can tell you nothing, and you know everything, and a woman is this and a woman, you heard all that old stuff you heard when you was a young boy, and all that stuff is flawed. What you learned as a child, when men will listen, or you hearing all these conversations, all this woman, this, and man, all that stuff is flawed, especially when you become a child of God. He reveals the truth to me, and he showed me so much truth. Hey, look, I'm gonna send y'all a invoice. Man, this was long, man. I got y'all on the clock, Paul. I got y'all on
I
the
think
clock, man.
we said,
No, do you know what it is?
Dennis, I'm glad, and that's why I'm glad that we've been in the background tonight and let you take center stage, because
I appreciate it.
think
It's powerful. It's a powerful
I
testimony.
know, without a doubt, and we've gone way over, but
Yeah.
we
But
wanted
it's
you,
worth it.
Wow.
because
It's worth
I
it.
feel that Debbie felt the same way. We wanted you to express yourself, because
Yeah.
what you've done is shown about, do broken men break, or
Equal.
does it equal broken
Mm-hmm.
relationships? And I think
Absolutely.
everything that you said, from my perspective, as I said, it's yes and no. you know.
Yeah.
But I really appreciate that you, and really
I
appreciate
appreciate you and Debbie
guests.
having me
You
on.
guys,
I mean,
Thank
y'all
you
caught
so
me at a
much,
good time.
Dennis.
Y'all caught me at a good time, Angela. Y'all caught
I'm
me
going
at
to
a
be
good time.
clipping
Yeah,
this one and posting.
yeah. I
Like, I don't
appreciate
even
it.
clip much of them, but I'm going to be clipping this one.
Yeah. I was, you know, God put something on you. When Paul called me, I told Paul, we had AJ and I had something to do. He just got back from Spain, and we had some things. And when Paul called me, I called you on Paul. You called me, then I called you back. And I said, Paul, I don't think I'm gonna be able to make it. And then I said, you know, I'll tell an agent, you know, I'm gonna make up with Mr. Paul, and I'm gonna make some time out and share and be as honest, as open as I possibly can, because the stuff I didn't know somebody shared with me. The same, I was just, when I did the thing with prostate, someone shared with me. That's how I was able to share with other people and share freely. You know, as God give it to us, in order for the blessing to be a blessing, you have to give it away. You know, and I believe that you can't just keep it to yourself. And if you could help somebody, whether it helped me or not, you know, it doesn't matter. Because even when I was in the hospital, they were taking tests and they were telling me, you know, it may not help you, but it's going to help people in the future. And I said, well, you know, go for it, man. I ain't gonna be selfish, man. You know, somebody did it for me, and I hope I wish we were all like that, where we could share and without judgment. We're just saying, look, and let me get these golden nuggets from this person. And I wasn't always like this. Like I said, I learned to listen to people when I was in trouble, when I didn't know myself. And then they share with me? Did they open up a whole new world to me? And as it was given to me, he said, give it away. You know, go and share with people. Don't let people run their head in the wall. Hold on, young man. Hold on, young lady. You know, you're trying to go through that door, but you got to stoop. You can't stand straight up. You got to go. This is what you need to do, and not keep this to yourself. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you, where can, because I know you're on TikTok.
Yeah.
I know you're on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
You just tell people out there, your TikTok and your Instagram.
It's at Dennis Alexander 78.
Again, what is that one on TikTok?
Yeah, TikTok. Yeah.
Okay.
Dennis Alexandra
at 78. I think it's at it's at Dennis Alexander 78. I think that's what it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is that the same on? What is that? Insta? What did you say? It's Insta.
No, it's TikTok.
That's TikTok. What's your Instagram? Do you remember?
I don't even know my Instagram. I ain't gonna lie to you. I don't even know. I know. I told you, Debbie. I did a video, and I think it got like just recent. I mean, about 3 or 4. It got like 5,000. You know, I post my struggles, my ups, downs with cancer, and so sometimes God give you something, you know, and I know that I found that was a good place for me to express. I do the same thing all the time. I don't change from let people see my walk and my struggle, you know, with cancers. I've, you know, gone through the years and my battles, and I've gotten some tremendous encouragement from other people. Other people have, you know, contacted me and told me, you know, just gave me some uplifting things late at night, because it's 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm up. And it's a struggle. I mean, I know I don't look like what I'm going through, but I am really going through, you know. And let me tell you something. You guys blessed me, because I was feeling a certain kind of way earlier, and I'm telling you, just, you know, it's amazing when you get something off your chest. You know, when you release it, it's you feel much lighter. And especially, he said, while you're going through, don't be so selfish. Go and share with other people. Go and speak about his goodness, and don't focus on yourself, but focus on him and his promises. And people will see, they will see his strength in me as I go through this process. It's a difficult process, but doable process. You know, you're gonna have ups and downs.
Your link is in the chat.
Yeah, I put the link in the chat.
And
you got some 48,000 on one of your views.
That's the one I'm talking about. That's the one I did.
And so check out Dennis's TikTok as well.
Deb, I appreciate you. I love you guys, man. You guys are amazing.
Thank you so much for your time. Thank your son for allowing you to spend this time with us.
Thank you, AJ, for allowing your dad to be with us.
You see my son?
Thank you,
This
AJ.
Paul's sister.
Handsome young man.
Yeah. He been patient. He been patient.
He's there
So,
playing his game.
yeah.
Bless
We going inside the gym. Actually, we're gonna go inside the gym. But yeah, I appreciate you guys. Love you
Yeah.
guys.
You
Yeah.
take care.
Definitely,
Take
take care. All right, peace.
All
Love
right.
you guys.
Take
All right,
care.
bye bye.
We'll
Bye-bye.
talk, Dennis.
All right.
All right. Bless you, man.
Well,
We have gone way over,
way
but I think that was
But that was
a
just such an
wonderful.
awesome time, and I just think it was so needed. It was necessary.
Yeah.
You know, normally we would switch and do part two, but I think that we just needed to let that flow and allow God to just do what he does best. And you know, whoever watches this, I really believe that they'll be blessed. Please share with your friends, your family, your colleagues, you know. Yeah, just keep on sharing. And yeah, it's paying it forward. You know, it might not be a subject for you, but it might be a subject for somebody else. And we really want the men out there to be healed, and we want relationships to be restored and families to be restored, and just living a purpose life, you know, the one that God has really created us.
Honest and open relationships where not
Absolutely.
open and you're open. You know, people use the term open relationships. No, open as in that the communication and the
It's
honesty
open.
between the two of you will help the process of healing any
Absolutely.
traumas and brokenness in your relationships.
So
That's my
thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us once again, and we'll catch you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.
another tasty subject. Bye for now.
Bye. What's going on?